And then, sorry. And then we just say, why won't you condemn the violence? Why won't you condemn the violence? You are supporting Hamas.
Let's. I gotta pee.
Okay.
You're gonna be away from chat and work. Family needs all my attention.
I'm gonna button.
Totally understandable, Metal Kitty Mom. But also, if you need anything from us, please let us know, okay?
Best buns. BWA.
Salmon Moose, thank you for gifting Holly Hoomst a sub. You wonderful, wonderful being you. 23. Let's go. I'll do my best to sneak into chat. Please do, because, you know, we'll miss you. And also, like, just, again, for real, if you need anything or need any support, let us know, alright? We got you.
Out that whole fucking
the whole last part?
Yeah, the whole last part.
Okay.
No, I feel like I definitely understand where you're coming from. Like, I mean, I 1000% understand where you're coming from. And I do think I can acknowledge, like I touched on before, that I'm capable of being more empathetic with their experience.
And I think you are more empathetic by an incredibly wide margin in comparison to the average American. Even though they're, of course, and this does not reflect American Jewish people in general. American Jews are at the forefront of demanding the end to the occupation. The Jewish Voice for Peace, if not now, is another organization. There are wonderful friends of mine that are regularly writing about this in very thoughtful ways. And have never ceased their coverage. It's
Zoop.
You know, it's so shitty. It's so sad. I don't know what else to say about it. Look, there was another point I wanted to make, but now I'm forgetting it.
Let's do this. Let's enjoy this video, and then I'm gonna go pee, and then we'll move on to another topic.
Okay.
Here, we never got to watch this. This is the mashup of us having a fake conversation with each other. Yeah.
5% of their targets were civilians, okay?
Did you not just see that they killed 700 people?
But it doesn't matter because they're not a fucking real military. They're disorganized. And of course, there were people who did some fucked up ass shit, and civilians died as a consequence of that too.
It's war, innocent people die. All right, so let's bring the Iraqis out. Iraqi terrorist groups to your neighborhood and see if you care. People murder everyone you love.
Of course they did that. And that is completely fucked up.
There's like a cut while you're talking.
They do a really well. I think they do a decent job of like at least interlacing your audio,
God.
so it actually does seem like I'm responding.
I don't know. It seems so far-fetched, but people are believing it. Pretty interesting.
This is wild.
Yeah, it's wild.
When immediately after,
but like, how fucking cynical is this, man? To create this,
people are saying, "I support Palestine," and what they don't mean Palestine, they mean
the
Hamas.
targets that they fucking killed, they're military. That's according to the Israeli numbers.
Even more than Israelis, perhaps, deserve to be burned alive by terrorists.
Like, bro, you know what life is like? Have you read a book? Have you like watched anything that isn't like pure Zionist copium propaganda?
In fact, why don't you just make it easier? Why don't you just fly to ISIS and do them a favor and just let them, you know, just serve yourself on a platter?
Why is Israel so violent? Why do they not actually scale it back a little bit?
Freaks. Bloodthirsty.
I'm not
savage,
sitting here and being like, oh,
freaks,
that's
yeah.
totally justifiable. That's
They come to your neighborhood
that happens.
and they just start burning people alive, killing people, kidnapping kids.
Absolutely.
I have to say, CM Malordines, this isn't. Is it just me, or is this deeply not super? Like now this has gone on so long that the joke is just wearing thin, because this I don't know how I feel about this, guys. I gotta be honest.
Desecrating bodies.
I am much more interested in how that happened.
It's pretty fucking. I mean, props, I guess.
Like if they had done it as a joke, it'd be one thing, but to try and trick people.
I remember what I was gonna
say. Like that was literally made to trick people into thinking that like that's how Hasan, or that's how Ethan was responding to Hasan.
Gonna say, okay, this is not about anything here, but it's neither here nor there. But like you didn't know about the 2018 numbers, right? The march to return.
No.
So you didn't know about that. You didn't know about Shireen Abu Akleh, and you are, despite not knowing any of that, and these are just some of the hundreds of examples. There's a reason why you don't know, even though you are empathetic and to the Palestinian plight. Okay. There's a reason why you don't know, though. And I think that deserves examination. Why have you never heard of this? You want to know why? Because it will never get the same level of coverage that you know, the Israeli retaliation and the justification for it gets.
To be fair, I haven't really been paying attention to the news until like very recently. But
well, there's a lot of Americans.
But I'm not disagreeing with you.
Mild grumbles. DWA.
Sam News, thank you for the 5 gifted tier 1 subs. Mild grumbles indeed. I feel like maybe they're almost done with this. Maybe? I don't know. We'll see. If you've been enjoying the stream, remember, hit the follow button and hit the subscribe button if you're over on YouTube. Hit the like button on the YouTube stream, ya hoosers. And consider dropping some subs or donos, especially if you would like to see some spookiness. Are we watching it at 1.5? We're watching it on 1.25. I think we had Drunk Vosh on with Jack once. We did. We talked about the underutilization of mummies in horror, which is true. We should have more mummies in horror, okay? Mummies are cool, and we should respect them. All right? That's just true. Mummies are kind of like vampires, except like kind of ugly and gross. And they're basically zombies, but they're wearing clothes, right? So, honestly, like, there should be a story about some kind of mummy lord, right? Like, if the mummy in The Mummy, right, had actually taken his time and, like, spent, like, a century gathering up the stuff he needed to, like, do the ritual he wanted to do, no one would have been able to stop him. He just does a crime, like, once every decade, and voila, he's got all the things he needs. Anyway, Charlie, thank you for becoming a member over on the YouTube. I appreciate that. We need to have Drunk Vosh on more often. He's very fun. Or just not Drunk Vosh. I should invite him on the show. Hello, Gayfesh. Feel like there needs to be more mummies in American Horror Story. You know, I need to spend more time watching American Horror Story. I tried watching it and I bounced off of it a little bit. But maybe that's because I was watching like an early season. I see our talk went live. Yeah! Finally! Sorry, it's just like, news kept newsin'. I watched the first season of American Horror Story. I need to watch the latex fetish season of American Horror Story. I don't know which one that is, but I do like their latex outfits. Feel like there are 2 versions of mummies, the zombie kind and the lich kind. I'm not gonna fuck with a lich mummy. Yeah, lich mummies are way scarier, right? And like, I don't know, I feel like mummies should have rules, kind of like how vampires have rules. But I think part of the fun of a mummy, right, is you can kind of create your own rules about a mummy. You know? That's kind of what's cool, right? Like, part of the horror of a mummy should be figuring out what its particular rules are. You know, based on whatever burial rite, you know, was done to it. Aren't the rules based on, like, sentimental things they're buried with, or cultural things, or, like, curses? They can be, but that's the thing. Mummy rules can be based on any of those things. one of the mummy rules should be that if you use a mummy's wrappings to wipe, your soul is cursed. No, Gayfesh. If you use a mummy's wrappings to wipe, your asshole becomes a portal to the mummy, the afterlife. Becomes some sort of like demon portal that like talks. I don't know. That'd be great. Return the slab. What was that? Oh, it was just my asshole. Does a mummy have to be part of the upper class? Not necessarily, right? Because you can come up with a circumstance under which, like, a mummy might be, like, some kind of warlord or bandit or, heinous criminal of some kind, right? Like, there could be other types of burial rites, much like what we saw in The Mummy, right? They didn't bury him because he was a powerful, cool person that they wanted to honor. They buried him because of his grave trespasses against the pharaoh, right? Yeah, there are also lots of different types of mummies, Abu Sel, right? Like the bog mummies in Scotland, or like what about like maybe you find like an ice mummy frozen in a glacier, from 40,000 years ago. Or oh god, I feel like none of you guys saw the movie The Empty Man, which was a criminally underrated horror movie, by the way. Does that mean Skyrim had mummies? Yeah. Draugar are essentially mummies. That means Brendan Fraser has been in 2 mummy franchises because he was in Encino Man. Yeah. Did any of you guys see The Empty Man? Like, you could find all kinds of really fucked up mummies, Like, this one in particular lives rent-free in my head. This one in particular, The Empty Man, is such a cool movie, and it was sent out to die because it was made by, Fox Studios. Right? Isn't that cool? This thing shows up in the movie for approximately, 3 minutes of screen time. And, it doesn't move around or anything, but it profoundly affects everything else that happens in the movie. And I feel like that's something that more mummies should do in movies, Like, someone encounters a mummy, and it just alters the course of their life forever. Have I played the Metroidvania game called The Mummy? It's rather good. I haven't, but I did hear that it was really good. That's the one that was based on the Tom Cruise Mummy, right? And it was just inexplicably good. Like, the developer just went absolutely ham making that game. And the thing is, you could have mummies without, outside of Egypt, right? It doesn't have to be like a colonialism mummy. It could be a different kind of mummy entirely. I think we've boxed in mummies too much as a culture. Can you remind me of what happened in that movie? I remember watching it and seeing that skeleton, but nothing else is stuck. It's really hard for me to describe much of the plot of The Empty Man because it's very high concept. I'm going to say, essentially, The Empty Man is about a detective who's trying to solve a series of murders and find this girl. And it doesn't really go in the direction you would expect. As you might imagine from this thing being in, the opening 15 minutes of the movie. which are probably it's probably one of the best openings to a horror movie I've seen in a long time, which, you know, is just making me think we should watch it in the Discord after stream, okay? Also, let us drink the mummy juice from that one coffin. Do not drink the mummy juice, chat. I've told you guys so many times. Stop trying to drink the mummy juice. You need to make an alignment chart for mummies. I need to make like a power rankings of mummies, you know, like a, you know, F through S tier. I'm gonna drink the mummy juice. Don't drink the mummy juice. You can drink the mommy juice, though. Also, chat, again, if you're enjoying this, drop some subs and donos and hit the like button on the stream. Do it, you fools. What about a trans mummy? What about a trans mummy? Mummies can be any gender. They're not limited. D&D idea. A lich is mummified and sealed to keep them from coming back because nobody can find her phylactery or something like that. And the binding breaks when one of pure heart, one of the player characters, opens the chamber. I mean, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea at all for a D&D campaign. And, like, if they're a low-level party, the lich is just, like, really gracious. Like, just like, thank you for freeing me. As an act of charity towards you little people, I'll spare your lives. Good day. A mummy movie, Metroidvania? Yeah, here, let's, I'll just... The Mummy video game. Yeah, I think it was this one. Here's the trailer for it. The only video game based on Universal's dark universe. Yeah, Way Forward is a absolutely banging studio. This soundtrack slaps. Oh, also, I just want you guys to know, they released a new Beatles song today. Like an actual new Beatles song. And it's really, really good. I wish I could play it for you guys and we could all talk about it. It's so good. So apparently, like 30 years ago, John Lennon recorded a bunch of demos onto like little cassette tapes, and like Yoko Ono remembered they existed like a decade later, and like called up the rest of the Beatles and was like, hey, I actually have a bunch of these like demo tapes that John made just kind of by himself. And I don't know, do you guys want them? And they were like, sure. And so like they got their hands on these demo tapes, and this one in particular was in like a really good and kind of more polished condition. And the main issue was at the time they couldn't separate the different tracks on the cassette tape. But then apparently like Peter Jackson worked with the Beatles like tangentially on like a documentary. And because of Peter Jackson's like technology that had been developed to work on like Lord of the Rings movies, he had like an AI algorithm thing to isolate John Lennon's voice from this demo recording. And then they assembled the remaining Beatles to work on a song. Yeah, Paul and Ringo got together, and I think one of the other ones that's still alive, I can't remember which one, and got together, and like they were able to isolate John Lennon's voice, so it's not like an AI generated John Lennon, it's John Lennon's voice, it's just the AI was able to like isolate it. And then they like used the music he had made to like do a new version, and like it's I listened to it earlier today. I think it came out literally today. And it was beautiful. I cried. It was really, really good. Like old Paul McCartney singing with like a young John Lennon is it's a trip, dude. George passed away a while ago. Yeah, George is gone. I think maybe like George's son or something. I don't remember. It was Paul and Ringo, and the other two are gone. Gotcha. It was really good. I think they also got like an old demo of like George and used part of that for the song as well. You don't need AI to isolate specific sounds. You did for like a cassette tape that was this old. I think was the issue, right? I'm listening to it right now. It's a banger. It's so good. It's so good. Honestly, it's not even AI is cool technology. It's not even how often it's used. It's how it's used, right? Like you can use AI to do really cool things, but using it as a replacement for like human beings, is weird. It's called Now and Then. And it's just really good. There's also like a mini documentary on the Beatles YouTube channel about putting it together. I'm guessing if I tried to play that on stream, the Beatles army of lawyers would kill me in my sleep. So I'm not going to try and play that on stream. Actually, you know what? You know what? Maybe I'll risk it. Maybe I'll risk it. I'm not going to play the song, but maybe I can play that little mini doc. Yes, here we go. This goes into how like they made it, right?
2 take 1, silent turnover.
Are you ready, Ringo? Come on, we're doing it. We're on.
Jesus Christ. Okay, I don't know if I can do it. I think that sound alone. Never mind. Abort. Just like that sound alone, I could feel 1,000 lawyers looking at my live stream. Charlie, you get good sleep, okay? Thanks for joining us. Don't stream too close to the sun. That sound reminded me of how bad of an idea it would be to play that. With how much Beatles, like, just little bits of Beatles songs are in that. Oh, God. You've chosen wisely. Wisely enough to get some more people to drop some donos, huh? Huh? All of a sudden, lawyers all suddenly looking at Jack's stream like she showed up late to class. I feel like the Beatles lawyers are just like sitting in like a gigantic sphere of screens. And they all just simultaneously looked at like the specific screen that's just my stream. They're in the orb. We can't talk about the orb on stream either. It's copyright. Chat, now I'm in an expensive apartment. You gotta pick up the slat. True, chat. I felt like Daedalus right then. Yeah. Okay, let's see if they're done here. They probably are. It seemed like they were.
Just trying to defend my own ignorance.
No, I know. It's just...
This is gonna be hell for me to edit into a segment, by the way.
I hope that people that are faced with this reality have a more empathetic approach, rather than turn around and say they deserved it and you deserve it too because you're a supporter of terrorism. You're not doing that, of course. There are those who know about it and yet still push this line, though. But I am a firm believer that if the media was a little bit less interested in manufacturing consent and creating a justification in the minds of Americans for ethnic cleansing of Palestinians, that more people would most likely say this is unacceptable, completely and utterly unacceptable.
All right, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I want to do all of this, so it might take a while if you're okay with that.
It's fine.
But I think I think that we're having a good thing happening here, so.
Yeah, we're solving it.
I want to keep it going. I mean, yeah, so I'll be right back. I'm just gonna go to the bathroom. Hasan, turn off his mic, please.
Yeah. That's...
Okay. I have just now unlocked the ability to build beds. We're really cooking in this RimWorld game, chat.
I apologize for being emotional. I
definitely don't need to apologize.
This has been
he doesn't need to apologize for being emotional.
Past 3-4 days.
Absolutely.
There are certain stories that everyone holds on to. You know, there's always a moment that is a radicalizing moment for many others. Like I said, Gabor Mate talked about his Palestinian friends who could not return to their homes when any Jewish person can just go and live in that house, whereas those in the West Bank that have left are, by state policy, not allowed to return. I think that was his radicalizing moment. I don't know. It's really sad. And we didn't even talk about the Canary mission. I want Ethan's perspective on that, especially because there are so many organizations that operate within American boundaries inside of the United States of America that do not have the fucking smoke for Nazis and fascists and anti-Semites, that only have that smoke for random Palestinian nurses, teachers, and students. These are organizations that work to dox and threaten those who have been in support of Palestinians.
I got called a Zionist by a tanky today because they saw pronouns in bio. Jesus. Am I still alive in the game? You are, Kyrie.
We just turn a blind eye to that completely. Most people don't know about it, though. And I think that's the reason why they turn a blind eye to it.
You're actually doing quite well.
It's ridiculous.
You're my strongest melee fighter.
It's completely ridiculous.
And getting really good at
boycott,
construction.
divestments, and sanctions movement, which was incredibly important in demanding the end of the apartheid in South Africa. I think that the American government has learned its lesson, from that former example and has moved very swiftly and very efficiently to make it virtually impossible to coexist or have a job and keep a job while simultaneously holding the position that you can defend Palestinians and demand a boycott, divestment, and sanctions from the state of Israel.
Do you know why it is that like I have to imagine that those laws that are on the books in 35 states about making
Damn, Paladin!
Please keep a steady wing, and know you're the only one who means anything to me. Steer clear of the sun. For once, won't you listen to me? Thrice, Daedalus, BWA.
I like when you guys make text-to-speech readout things like that to me. It's very nice. BWA! 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 Y'all, Paladin lost. OG homie.
Making it illegal to support BDS have been challenged by some groups on First Amendment grounds. Like, how has that not gone to the Supreme Court yet? Or has it? Has there been a ruling on that? It just seems so blatantly not.
It's been challenged in one. I think Abby Martin was one of the people that challenged it in one. But ultimately, it still exists in, like I said, in a lot of states.
35 is most, yeah. It just, yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know what the status of any fights over that is, but it just seems so on its face unconstitutional. I'm shocked that so many states have been able to pass that.
Jerusalem Post posted this today over this stupid fucking debate, but they said the Jerusalem Post can now confirm on verified photos of the bodies that reports of babies being burnt and decapitated in Hamas's assault on Kfar Aza, the kibbutz, are correct. And
that was such a, oh God.
There was a lot of fucking people being like, for some reason, they're like, Hamas would never do that. They would only slaughter 1,500 people. They would only shoot a baby with an AK-47, as if that's not more brutal.
I said this yesterday. I talked about this quite a bit. I think that the coverage of this has been ridiculous. Like the fact that, first of all, the fact that it was not verified until now is insane to me, and the fact that it got all the way to the president, who said I saw the photos when he had not seen it and just repeated it, is wild. Like, and ultimately, it doesn't matter what method of execution occurred when children were slaughtered, when babies were slaughtered. It literally doesn't matter.
Well, that's why I always thought it was so silly when I would see leftists being like, they didn't rape anyone or decapitate any babies. It's like, I guess they're cool then. I guess they're cool.
Shot them.
Yeah, they're cool.
But
they did
actually.
Seem
kind of moot.
No,
but Hamas.
This is why this conversation is frivolous, and I mentioned it time and time again yesterday. That, like, okay, the babies were not decapitated,
they were killed,
or they were, but they're still killed.
Yeah.
So it is silly. It's silly to have a back and forth on this. However, the only reason as to why the assessment should be made later down the line on how quickly information that is not verified yet can spread all the way to the highest levels of government, and what that serves, what purpose that serves. That part needs a close examination, especially considering prior instances where. Not that it matters. Again,
I mean, it was true.
It is true.
Yeah.
And it was ruthless, and it was brutal.
It is fucking ruthless.
And this is something that needs to be. This is something that of course, needs to be considered.
That is.
The reason why people were the reason why a lot of people, at least I follow, who have been covering this on the ground inside of Israel, and some inside of Gaza as well. Was because of the Kuwait baby incubator situation that occurred in the past, where Amnesty International and the American authorities in the lead up to Operation Desert Storm said that the Iraqi soldiers were taking babies out of their incubators and like tossing them and like killing them, which is like incredibly brutal, right? In that circumstance, that was completely not real. That had not happened at all. And Amnesty International went in and looked at it, and there was even an eyewitness testimony that was offered in Congress that was just a complete falsehood, a complete fabrication, and that played a role in justifying it to Americans that like we have to invade. And I think that's the reason why, because the American government has done this before. I think that's the reason why people thought that this was the exact same situation. However, it wasn't the exact same situation because the baby incubator story was false, whereas babies were still killed in this circumstance. So
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But the truth is, though, that this is not going to help anything. This is going to fuel a lot of bad feelings. This being true.
And here's the thing, right? like even if those babies weren't beheaded, let's say, right, or they weren't decapitated, whether by gunfire or directly with knives or whatever, which is, I can't believe we're having this conversation. It's so fucking ridiculous. Okay, they still died. It's not like the Israeli government was going to do anything different. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, or it's not like the people that are receiving this information were going to feel differently. Like the goal there is to absolutely demand verification, because you have to do that, because in the fog of war there is so much misinformation that gets presented, and the media should do their fucking jobs 100%. And I do have criticisms on that front, but it's ridiculous to have a constant back and forth on this when nothing will change and nothing's going to bring those children back.
All right, here's what I want to do. I'm going to move on in the interest of fairness, because part of what I want to do today is call out some really fucking nasty shit I've seen. But and because I want to be consistent and do it all around, and these people are just as deserving, if not more, to be called out, I have a compilation of all the really fucked up shit that Western politicians, mostly politicians, some here like this guy. I mean, this is a rally, you know, this is a pro-Israel protest in New York. I mean, just listen to what this guy has to say.
To my dick.
What do you think the response should be from Netanyahu and the military to Gaza?
Kill all Palestinians. All
Jesus
them.
Christ.
So,
Yeah, remember when someone came in here and like I was like, yeah, this guy's fascist. This guy is a Nazi. There's literally no daylight between what this guy believes and what a Nazi believes.
like, that's crazy.
Yeah, they managed to find the Nazi baby.
Obviously, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
The confidence
barbaric.
to just say that on camera.
Yeah.
I mean, why would he? Why would
There
he
is
feel?
there is a level of comfort in saying that,
Yeah.
more so than saying
Kill all Israelis,
yeah,
kill all Jews.
Israel.
Yeah, of course.
there's definitely way more
He's like,
acceptable
no
thing to say.
hesitation there, right into the
somehow.
camera.
Yeah.
No mask.
His
The thing
face is there. He
the
probably
thing
got a
why
job.
would
Yeah.
he say that? Is that might be a Kahanis flag? I think too, the one that he's
What
putting
is
up.
that?
One left from the river to the sea.
I can't see.
Palestine will be deceased. And Israel need to do like this.
Oh, and then this
You see?
whole
Now,
shit. Yeah, I've heard this a million times. But
the-
anyway, so that was one.
you
I just
know,
want to blast through these.
The flag that I think he's waving is a Kahanis flag, which is of course the psychopathic terrorist cult
Super far right.
led by the insane Meir Kahan, the rabbi, which Itamar Ben-Gvir is a part of his cult and is a defender of.
Here is Lindsey Graham, the fucking demon.
By the way, that's a
himself.
terrorist organization by American standards. Literally, America has declared that to be a terror organization, as a terrorist organization by Israeli standards as well, and that is the reason why Itamar Ben-Gvir was not allowed to serve in the IDF. So remember that, like, you know, no matter how conservative or no matter how ultra Zionist you might be, even Israeli conservatives are like, that's too far, that's too fucked up. Now that guy runs the police force, and
Have the YouTube extension emotes options improved? I genuinely have no idea. I've been I believe the amount of emotes we have on YouTube is directly proportional to how many members we have on the YouTube. And we have gotten more members, so I'll look into adding more emotes on the YouTube.
and Benjamin Netanyahu gave him a Praetorian Guard, or said it offered him concessions on building out a Praetorian Guard specifically for him.
Netanyahu's going to be remembered like the man. He wanted this legacy of being Israel's protector so bad. He served for what, like 13 years. People are going to spit on his fucking grave, dude.
True.
Anyway, here's Lindsey Graham on Fox News, international news, the most popular news show in America, I think.
We're in a religious war here. I am with Israel. Do whatever the hell you have to do to defend yourself. Level the place. We're in a religious war.
Psychotic.
So, but the first guy that we showed, and what he's saying is also exactly what's going on in Gaza. So that is why I always say there is no equivalence here. Like there is
Just
no
as much. And
there is no power or no like serious no genuine voice that is channeling this kind of wanton indifference and this kind of like callous celebration of like genociding all Jewish people, which is completely unjustifiable, of course. Like there is no equivalent on the there's no equivalent on the Palestinian side.
You're right.
And it's not represented in the media or reflected in any way at all.
I understand what you're saying. And the crazy thing here is that These people are posting it on their social media. This is Nikki Haley posted this on her YouTube. Lindsey Graham posted that clip. That motherfucker clipped that because he
posted it himself.
Right? He posted that on Twitter.
Yeah, that's
Bro,
so crazy.
It's not just Republicans, by the way. Democrats
This
have
is the
said
worst I've
similar.
found.
Democrats have said similar things as well. I mean, what's his name from the Problem Solvers Caucus? Gottheimer, Josh Gottheimer. They were having a closed door meeting, and he could be heard screaming that, like, you know, all Muslims. What was it? That's a Democrat. Oh, here, I'll show you. I'll read.
Meanwhile, here, let me play this Nikki Haley video. Message to Netanyahu.
And what we have to understand is this is the reason that we have to unite around making sure our enemies do not hurt our...
I do have to say, also looking at this, it strikes me as a little bit silly that they're showing... Oh, God damn it, it's so fucking slow. That they're showing like a, you know, essentially a hole in the ground as evidence for, you know, the
Leveling
damage,
the city?
The damage that Hamas has done versus like the shots of Gaza where like literally entire city blocks are demolished. It does strike me as a little fucking goofy.
Sure our enemies do not hurt our friends. America can never be so arrogant to think we don't need friends, just like we needed them on 9/11. That's why Ukraine needs us when Russia's doing this. That's why Israel needs us when...
There's like some playground politics.
That is the most
You need
disgusting.
friends.
That is
We
the most
need
disgusting
friends.
comparison. Like the fact that every fucking Ukrainian official has come out and been like, wow, what Palestinians are doing is exactly what the Russians are doing to Ukraine is so fucking, oh my God, I don't even want to get into it. Okay, I don't
Let me
even wanna
finish
talk
this
about
video.
that.
Yeah.
Dogs.
Hamas and Iran are doing this, and I'll say this to Prime Minister Netanyahu, finish them. Finish them. Hamas did this, you know...
I mean, that's fucking crazy. And I mean, again, the result of this shit, of these terrorist attacks is basically, you know, the Western world being like, here's your blank check to kill as many fucking Palestinians as you want.
It's so 9/11 again. It's so scary.
This only works when only one side of the conflict gets coverage in the eyes of the American population. They would do this on Fox regardless. It only works because of the insanely Islamophobic sentiment that is just so commonplace since the post 9/11 universe that we exist in, and not only
Welcome,
that,
Shaka Cho.
but also that's why the conflation of Palestinians and Hamas is one that is by design, because the victims are still the Palestinians, not Hamas, and there's no way to effectively neuter or destroy Hamas with an endless bombing campaign in Gaza. The only way to destroy the influence that Hamas has is by starving it out. And I don't mean literally by starving the entire Gaza Strip. Starving Hamas and ridding it of its influence requires you to treat Palestinians with dignity and offer them equality and follow through on the former promises that the international community has made and turned a blind eye to Israel not following their commitments on.
Fully agree with what you said. Like, again, it's important for everyone to acknowledge that Hamas is the result of, you know, Israel's treatment of the Palestinians. And it's just, you're right. And I think it's obvious, but I guess people don't want to confront it, but the obvious solution is to don't give them a reason to turn to terrorists. You know, pretty obvious.
Yeah.
But there it is. Here's Marco Rubio.
Two-state solution,
there can be
baby.
no ceasefire, negotiated solutions, or peaceful coexistence with depraved barbarians who murder teenage girls, children, the elderly, and then dump them in the streets of Gaza so bloodthirsty crowds can desecrate their bodies. Hamas must be eradicated, and Israel must respond disproportionately, in all caps, to this and any future attacks from the enemy. I mean, what he's doing here is, like, the Hamas murderers are 1,000% barbarians who murdered children, teenage girls, which specifically he has a problem with. He goes, who murdered teenage girls? What about the teenage boys? We don't care about them. Just like, it's a weird focus. What, right? Anytime,
a little odd.
Anytime you call out teenage girls in any context, I'm going to raise an eyebrow.
Check his hard drive.
He just likes them, you know.
Yeah. By the way,
But to finish my point, he was saying he's conflating Hamas, who are bloodthirsty murderers, to justify killing Palestinians disproportionately. And again, like, I don't know if they, like, the videos that I saw that made me emotional before of the Palestinian dad, you know, with his daughter, holding her like this, like she was like gray and fucking dead, like an 8-month-old baby, like a beautiful newborn, innocent, beautiful child. like I don't know if and he's this man. I don't know if Marco Rubio has ever seen anything like that, or if it would change him. But I can't imagine that seeing that would not have an impact on these fucking ghouls to see what they're actually wishing for.
It might not be impactful for Marco Rubio, but it certainly would be impactful for many people who are completely oblivious to what's going on, which is precisely the reason why that never gets any coverage. This isn't to say that like Israeli civilian casualties are acceptable or good. It's just that there is coverage on that endlessly, understandably, and never any coverage on the humanity of Gazans. I've talked about another aspect of this too. We in the Western world live in the comfort of the imperial core, and we live in a comfortable security blanket. So for us, if we live in like Connecticut or Iowa or whatever, of course we empathize significantly more with Israelis that were attacked by this horde of scary Muslims. Like, of course we empathize with that on a spiritual level because we can't understand the entire building blocks being removed. It is far too alien for us to comprehend the fear and the reality of that kind of devastation. We look at that and we go, oh, this is just like Baghdad, you know, which is an enemy that deserved it in the minds of Americans. So that is also another reason why I think Americans are immediately and unconditionally in support of, you know, the Israeli occupation.
Here's Ben Shapiro. I mean, no surprise here, obviously, but still.
Oh, he's been baying for blood nonstop.
I mean, here's a video. The UN Special Reporter for Human Rights in Palestine. We are horrified by what's happening, and we are calling for a truce. And here's a video of, you know, Gaza being bombed by missiles. And then Ben, in his infinite empathy and human nature, told them that they can fuck right off.
Ben Shapiro is one of the worst people on the planet. Just hopped on Jack's Twitter trying to ruin No Nut November for people on day one. You're goddamn right I am. My goal is to just walk into a room and everyone starts nutting, all right?
And, like, this is such, all these people, but looking at Ben, I mean, it's such a lack of human empathy. It's like, it's just fucking evil, man. But there it is. That's Benny Boy. And one more, again, no surprises here, but Charlie Kirk.
These people betray principles of Judaism and centuries of Jewish history of always siding with those who have been oppressed, always being at the forefront of social justice and fighting for emancipation for all people. It's really, really, really disgusting to see that. 100%.
I didn't want to read this one. So basically showing all these ghouls feeling very comfortable with no pushback, expressing their desire for genocide in Western media.
Yep.
Oh, here is an Israeli. Hold on, who said this? Okay, so here it is in Hebrew. This was from an unnamed defense official told Israel's Channel 13 that the Palestinian territory, home to more 2 million residents, would be reduced to rubble. Quote, Gaza will eventually turn into a city of tents. There will be no buildings. The ground maneuver will surprise Hamas, the official said in a stark warning to the terrorist group behind the weekend assault that killed more than 1,200 Israelis.
I mean, the Israeli defense minister literally said, we're shutting off the electricity, we're shutting off the food supply.
I don't understand
And we're
that.
shutting off the water into Gaza because we're fighting human animals, or a better translation, I think, was beasts. Like, but ultimately, though, that's collective punishment. It is a violation of the Geneva Suggestions. I don't want to call it conventions. This has happened for far too long. You can't attack the press. You can't attack medics. They killed. There was the Red Crescent guy who was crying in his ambulance because he could not. He had seen far too much death and destruction, and a couple hours later, he got bombed. They allowed him to enter a site of.
People are trying to claim this is a mistranslation. I think the mistranslation was that there were 500 casualties versus 500 dead. I think that was the mistranslation. If I'm remembering correctly.
The rubble, a site of the bombings, and they bombed him and killed him, like a couple hours later.
Okay, so
directly just a violation.
At this time, I want to turn my attention to some of the very evil takes I've heard some prominent folks making about Israelis. Here is one such example of a dude, and this guy is very popular. He has 1.6 million subscribers.
Oh, hey, this is the second thought clip, I think. You still have gender bitch emote? Is that motherfucker still around, or is that a thankfully dead meme now? He actually popped up like, I don't know, like a several weeks ago. The Jucha Gang guy. Yeah.
He is a very popular.
Second Thought is arguably like the most popular nominally socialist streamer. But dude's a hardcore tanky. Like he simps hard for authoritarianism.
Political YouTuber
I can't see anything.
called Second Thought. Sorry, this.
Oh yeah, he's my friend. I like JT.
All right, well then, you tell me what you think about this. He said, "What's going on in occupied Palestine is unprecedented. No doubt we'll have
Is it on? Wait, hold on. I don't have my glasses today.
It's just the.
I'm not gonna be able to see it. I just had to click on it so I can read it. But go ahead. You can read it out. You can read it out loud.
Here, you know what? Let me show you this.
Is it on the Google Doc?
Let me show you the video first. This will be easier for you. He basically says the same thing here. So here he is doing a podcast.
I've been on. I think is this deprogram? I've been on the podcast.
I don't know what it's called, but this is just a clip from
Yeah.
So here's his take on this, and let's listen.
Send files also much. He says, did the Palestinians actually take civilian hostage, or is that fake news? I don't care.
Yeah, the occupiers
I
are
do
not civilian.
First of all, just straight off the bat,
The person that's talking is Hakim. He is a doctor in Iraq, and of course, just to put this into a decent frame of reference for those who.
And I'm pretty sure Hakim has said some extraordinarily sussy stuff related to like the Kurdish people in the past.
Who are unfamiliar, I think he will probably have a much.
If I'm going to be completely honest, I think the elements that make Hasan more inclined to bad geopolitical takes and tanky shit come from his association with these people and like uncritically absorbing their opinions.
Much more ruthless position on the matter, considering how he feels about American forces and what they've done to his.
This I'm
home
pretty
and
sure is
family.
all Second Thought.
No, the one who said.
No, I know. But
Yeah.
Here.
Send files also much. He says, did the Palestinians actually take civilian hostage, or is that fake news?
So wait, who's talking there?
That's Hakim.
Oh wait, here's man. You just had the Hakim clip teed up. What is this? Okay. From Reddit. You're ignorant of everything concerning Iraq. You want to know the best about all of this? I never said I supported Saddam. In fact, I'm incredibly critical of him, even more so than you, except the difference is that my opinion is informed while yours is not. That completely flew over your head. The Kurds, the most incredibly reactionary group in the region, arguably the most religious and most socially regressive, is the greatest hope. Absolutely ridiculous. You see a few pictures of Kurdish girls with AKs and all of a sudden you become an expert on the region. You Western pseudo-leftist liberals are impossible. I'm not and never have been a content member of the middle. Okay, I don't. But yeah. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he's said far worse stuff about the Kurds. I mean, like, this isn't like kind of a nasty generalization. It's not like so beyond the pale, I guess. Oh wait, there were multiple ones. Oh, that okay. Okay. Wait. All right. What are your thoughts on the Anfal genocide, Hakim? There was no genocide. In the middle of a war, a rebel group starts a guerrilla war on the home front. Not only this, but they allied with the enemy. They were dealt with harshly, as you may expect, because it was literally wartime. Any other country would have done the same, and historically has done the same. As for the death toll, it is so widely exaggerated, it's staggering. I still remember when Kurds used to claim 10,000 victims, and that magically shot up to 200,000 or even 500,000 in the past 15 years. Okay, we got some fun bits of genocide denial. All right. What about the Uyghur genocide? Hi there. This is a complex question. Firstly, I'd question the framing of the question to say Uyghur genocide is somewhat of a loaded phrase, as it already assumes that a genocide is occurring. Which, yes, calling something a genocide is indeed calling something a genocide. I'd question that position, as the evidence as it currently stands doesn't indicate as much. You can refer to the resources below if the situation changes, then I'm equally open to having my mind change. In my personal experience, the position of the Chinese on re-educating radicalized segments of their population through language programs, vocational schooling, and proper religious guidance is a dream that I wish would take place in my country, Iraq. Chat, they were literally sterilizing Uyghur women. They were sterilizing Uyghur women and trying to eradicate their cultural practices. Like, as well as just disappearing mass numbers of people. Cool. Oh, there's more. Oh my god, how many are there here? Thank you for the informative video. What is your opinion of the Ottoman Empire? Oh no. I've read that it was much more tolerant and progressive than the West at the time. Thanks, Comrade. I'm a fan of the Ottoman Empire generally. Why? They also did some pretty crappy things. I like this early period much more than the 19th century period. They were indeed much more progressive and tolerant than the West, being the first to decriminalize homosexuality in the 1800s, having a system of equal representation through the millet system, etc. Yeah, the Ottoman Empire wasn't good. Just as a FYI. Wait, how are there so many? What is this? What about the Halabja chemical attack? What do you think of it? Similar views. There is even eyewitness account that stated it was part of an Iranian attack, not Iraq. Regardless, the fog of war muddles it all up. It happened regardless, and it's a shame, but also it's good to remember that far more Iranians and Iraqis were gassed too. Strange to highlight one incident during a war and not the dozens upon dozens of other ones. Which I believe the Halabja chemical attack was part of Saddam Hussein's war against the Kurds, I believe. Off the top of my head. Halabja chemical attack. Also known as the Halabja massacre. Ah, yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it was Saddam Hussein. Attacking the Kurds. Cool stuff. Yeah. The incident was the largest chemical weapons attack directed against a civilian population area in history, killing between 3,200 and 5,000 people and injuring 7,000 to 10,000 more, most of them civilians. Preliminary results from surveys of the affected region showed an increased rate of cancer and birth defects in the years afterward. Oh! The Halabja attack has officially been defined as a genocidal massacre against the Kurdish people in Iraq under Saddam Hussein by the Supreme Iraq Criminal Tribunal. Cool. Yeah. Oh, hey, Ali Hasan al-Majid, a high-ranking Iraqi official who led the Anfal campaign, was found guilty of ordering the attack and subsequently executed in 2010. Cool stuff. You know, something tells me maybe people shouldn't be listening to this Hakim guy as much. So a few years later, those same rebels invited the Iraqi army to clear up their own civil war in the 90s. It's all nonsense that was brought up from the ground, heavily exaggerated and used as justification for the 2003 invasion. I mean, I don't think it was used as justification for the invasion of Iraq. The justification for that invasion of Iraq was weapons of mass destruction. If Iraq ever did intend to genocide Kurds, it wouldn't have been the first nation on earth to let them speak, teach, and live. What? Let alone develop Kurdish cities and even teach Kurdish in Iraqi schools as an elective subject. What a weirdo, dude. Why do these people gotta be so sussy? I mean, pro tip, okay? Pro tip. Don't do war crimes, and if you did do war crimes, just admit that you did war crimes and continue to live continue to live your life. Like you could condemn war crimes against groups of people. It's not hard to do. Even if they genocided them, which they did, they would be nice about it. Uwu. God, yeah, proper religious education. He's got some really spicy meatballs in those takes. God damn. Anyway, maybe don't listen to that guy so much, Hasan.
Okay, so second thought's the one who says, "I don't care," and laughs.
Wait, say it.
I don't care.
This
No,
guy.
that's Hakim.
The guy with the accent.
Yeah, that's Hakim. Second thought is an American.
So second thought is the guy who's asking the question.
No, Hakim is the one who read it. He's reading it from chat. It's a super chat.
Did the Palestinians actually take civilian hostage, or is that fake news? I don't care.
Yeah. Well, anyway, he agrees with him, so let's just fucking listen
go
to
on.
the clip.
The occupiers are not civilians. That is what it comes down to. Like, if imagine, if Germany, let's say Germany to be non-controversial.
That's him, right?
I think so. Yeah, I think so.
Controversial.
And not that it matters.
Invaded the United States, and they said, you know what, Cincinnati, Ohio is our ancestral home, and everyone knows that's blatantly false. But they take your home, they murder your grandma, they bulldoze like your neighbor's house. Are those people civilians there? No, they're occupiers, and those are criminals. That is, there are no civilians there.
So according to second thought, he says that every Israeli is an occupier, and there are no citizens there. In response to decapitating babies,
there are two different schools of thought here. So the first is,
and the take in the comments is based.
Of course. The 1948ers believe that there's two different schools of thought within, I would say, anti-Zionism. Those who believe that all matter of settlements that were propped up even in the inception of the Israeli nation state are unjustifiable, and that they are settlers. So they extend beyond your perspective that you agree with, which is West Bank is a settler occupation.
I think it's an extremely evil thing to say, what he said.
Let me ask you this.
No. What do you think? What he said is evil?
I think it is, one, unproductive, and two, it does not meet the realities on the ground, and it's not a viable solution.
So calling, just to be clear, calling babies.
No, of course not.
Settlers.
Of course.
And they're not even living.
They're not.
Okay,
yeah,
good.
they're babies.
So I just want to say, that this guy's
a
a fucking evil piece of shit for saying that.
Can I ask you a question?
Can I finish? Let me finish this.
Okay, we'll finish this, but I do have a question for you because I think you're going to agree with something I'm about to say.
Yes. Let's just finish.
Like, is it really that hard to be like, no, what he's saying is monstrous? like, is it really that hard? Is it really that hard to, like, just admit that, like, saying all people who live on this land, regardless of who or what they are valid targets for Hamas to slaughter? Like, is it really that hard to say that, like, if someone saying that is wrong? I wouldn't think so. Hasan seems to struggle with it, though. And
then we'll talk.
Invaded the United States, and they said, you know what, Cincinnati, Ohio is our ancestral home, and everyone knows that's blatantly false. But they take your home, they murder your grandma, they bulldoze like your neighbor's house. Are those people civilians there? No, they're occupiers, and those are criminals. That is, there are no civilians there in the illegal military occupation.
Yeah. So that's number one.
I mean, that's so callous. It's kind of hard to fucking even believe just how flippant he can be about calling babies militants that are deserving to be killed.
Very beautifully put. Number two, much more importantly, the track record of Palestinians has been 1,000 times better than that of the Israeli occupation, despite the fact that Israeli occupation does not need to brutalize. They already have all the power, but they still choose to do far, 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 far worse. The worst that will happen to a person in the Palestinian custody is that they're going to be like auctioned off for a prisoner swap, which is the historic track record also.
And of course,
he's not wrong about this. This is the original goal for the military, the excursion, at least if you believe.
I'm not exactly having a ton of faith in the dudes that decapitated babies to treating their POWs really well.
Well,
I think that's kind of a psychotic take too.
Yeah.
Where it's like it's like, why are you trying to give Hamas the benefit of the doubt on this one? You know, being like, oh, they treat their prisoners fucking awesome. You know, let's not try to do that.
Okay. So,
but anyway, and that combined with just the callous, the laughter.
Listen.
Hold on. Did the Palestinians actually take civilian hostage, or is that fake news? I don't care.
Okay.
And they're laughing about it.
So let me pose a question for you.
Go ahead.
So you have said that those in the West Bank are fundamentalist settlers. Are you familiar with the international law surrounding the justifiable forms of violence towards?
So first of all,
terror?
I don't put any stock, frankly, in whatever these quote international laws are.
Yeah, it's.
But no, I'm not familiar with whatever that says.
Technically, the reason why the IDF has to exist in the West Bank and behave in the oppressive manner that they behave is because Palestinians, and this is going to sound very radical and possibly very violent, but this is a matter of law, and maybe even if you agree with this, a matter of morality. Palestinians have the legal ground to violently seize back their own homes from the settlers. This is a reality, and that is precisely the reason why they have to exist under endless occupation in the West Bank.
You know what? And that's why I say, if it was settlers, that would be a lot more understandable. But let's not obfuscate, okay? I understand what you're saying, but this dude just called babies militants.
No, I understand. And there are baby settlers as well. But there are baby settlers as well. There are babies in the settlements.
But the babies that killed were not.
I know.
Okay, so
now that we establish that, no, hold on. Now that we establish that, the other school of thought here is that all matter of Israelis living on Israel proper are they're also doing the exact same thing in the eyes of some. I do not agree with that because I don't think that is a reasonable solution, and it's not realistic anyway, and that only will lead to the complete evisceration of Palestinians, and far-right Israelis will use that to continuously radicalize just regular Israeli citizens in their endless bombing campaigns and ethnic cleansing campaigns and the brutal occupation. This is why many thinkers, I believe even including Norm Finkelstein, who has dedicated his entire life to speaking the truth about Israel's occupation, and Noam Chomsky and many others, even Edward Said, as I brought up earlier, believe that the de-Zionification or the displacement of Israelis from Israel proper, Jewish Israelis, is it's not justifiable and it's not realistic. It's more so a single state solution, at least one that I advocate for, because I know a lot of people advocate for a two-state solution. I'm a one-stater, which
was there a question?
What?
I thought you said I have a question for you at the beginning of that.
I gave you the question. You already answered it. You said I know your position on like violently seizing back your land from settler occupiers.
Yeah, that's not what they did though. And that's
these guys. No, these guys, or at least I assume second thought, has the perspective that all matter of Israel is all matter of Israel proper is considered settler occupation.
And he's evil for thinking that. He is. Right after babies were murdered and decapitated.
All say that not
Yeah. Ethan has a valid point here.
Let me read this for the.
If he said this in 1949, I'd have a different opinion on the matter. You can't say this in 2023. I agree.
Let me read this. Thank you for agreeing. What's going on in occupied Palestine is unprecedented. No doubt we'll have wall-to-wall coverage of atrocities now that it's the genocidal settlers on the receiving end. This is what liberation struggle looks like. Solidarity and victory to the Palestinian people. Again, just to put the timing in frame here, he says, no doubt we'll have wall-to-wall coverage when Israel responds. This is while bodies are still bleeding.
Well, I guess the second part did come true. He wasn't wrong on the second part of that conversation, at least. Okay.
But solidarity and victory to the which part are you referring to?
Wall-to-wall coverage when Israel responds.
Right, but like, and this is my problem. So as the bodies are fucking still bleeding out, and He's saying this is what liberation struggle looks like: beheading babies, burning families alive, solidarity and victory to the Palestinian people. This is pro-Hamas. This man is supporting Hamas.
I think his position is that people that have been trapped, and I can't speak for him, but you can if you want to talk to him. I'm sure he would be willing to come on and speak his piece. I've already mentioned that I don't find this to be particularly helpful or productive as far as this conversation goes, not because like I am tasked with defending the positions of other people or even criticize them. It's more so that we know what is currently happening. We are now 3-4 days removed from October 7. And we know what the retaliation looked like, and we know what the occupation has looked like every single day.
That was an obvious reaction.
So that's why I'm saying,
again,
that's what I'm saying. Like a YouTuber with
hold on, this guy's influential.
No, I know, Ethan, but his influence is nothing in comparison to the multi-billion-dollar media
I
operation.
just want to call this guy out. That's what I want to do.
You can call him out.
I just spent
and you can ask
2.5 hours calling out Israel. So now this guy, second thought, he's supporting Hamas. He is pro-Hamas. That's what hold on.
Okay.
Solidarity and victory to the Palestinian people. Oops. Again, the timing that I keep mentioning, as bodies are being counted, is pro-Hamas. That's it. That's it. There's no other way to interpret that, and it's evil. He continues, imagine someone comes to your town, murders your neighbors, kicks you out of the home your family lived in for generations, and relocates you. Are those occupiers civilians? No. They're criminals and accomplices in genocide. Once again, referring to babies who were decapitated. At least, but again, that doesn't matter. 40 babies died at this kibbutz. Okay, kids also, children, families, peaceful kibbutzim. Many of them actually pro-Palestine advocates. He said that they are criminals and accomplices.
Okay, we don't know if they were pro-Palestine advocates. Let's not go that far.
What? That's positive. That's what you think that none of the people killed were.
I mean, I don't know that. I'm saying, like, I don't know why you're adding that. It doesn't even matter because ultimately,
it does matter.
They shouldn't die.
Okay, right.
My position.
But it does make it especially ironic when he's calling them accomplices in genocide when their only crime is being born somewhere.
No, I agree with you.
It's evil. I just want to say that.
I agree with you.
Okay, good.
I don't disagree with you on this at all.
Thank you.
But that's not my. But
bro, I'm just calling it out.
Okay,
this guy's a fucking. He's a scumbag.
If you want, you have the opportunity.
Like, why is Hasan being so cagey about this? Like, yeah, a guy going around saying, babies are valid targets for violence is disgusting. That's pretty straightforward to me. Like, you don't need to be like, oh, yeah, it's pretty bad, but like, why play this game? Just like, if he's your friend, you should be able to talk to him about that, right?
You can speak to him if you want on this particular issue.
I'll think about it. But
so I don't know why you're.
I'm not demanding you respond, but I simply, as a matter of doing the show, want to call out the people that disgusted me, because again, I hear this all the time. People go, "Oh, really? Well, show me an example."
I know, but
here's one.
No, of course there are examples of this. It's just entirely and utterly inconsequential, and I 100% stand by that.
It's not. He's an influential man. When you're expressing these kinds of.
Okay, let's walk through that. What do you think is the negative consequence of this? Do you think that people are going to see this and go, "Oh, I should go to a..."
So should I not care about it?
I think that if you look at the reality, and I know you recognize it, a YouTuber saying this kind of thing and spending any time or any effort on this, when your moral position is clear, when mine is clear, spending any time on this whatsoever to be like, we got to clean up our own homes here, deviates from the actual message that must be unflinching. The message is that these violent means of ensuring that the occupation continues is going to inevitably lead to more violence that Israelis will be subjected to as well.
Normalizing murdering civilians.
He has no capacity to do so.
And the result of that,
I think a better argument would be that it's anti-Semitic. You could say that, well, not what he's saying, but that it could lead to people listening to what he's saying and then think that like all Jews are responsible.
Okay,
and
so
think
it's
that
consequential. The stuff that he's saying matters.
That would.
But my point is, if I can finish my point, is that this guy who proposes to be this Palestinian advocate, he is encouraging the murder of civilians, babies, etc. And in an effort to free the occupation.
I don't think he's encouraging it. I think he's justifying
No,
it.
no, no, no. No, he says, hold on. No, he says this is what liberation struggle looks like. What's the liberation struggle about murdering families? But I wanted to say this. This guy who purports to care so much about Palestine, his advocating for killing civilians, the result of that is going to be basically what's happening in Gaza now, which is that Israel, which is, again, genocidal, violent, psychopathic people in power, are, it's like the result of this is Netanyahu gets more power and consolidates when people already fucking hated him. The international community that was giving a lot of general support for Palestine and Gaza and all that, there was a lot of I know you're going to debate me. There was a lot of sentiment, especially in Europe, for being like, yo, we need to.
Ethan,
we need to look at this.
The entire planet. The entire planet has regularly condemned the illegal occupation time and time again. You know who has said fuck off to that? The United States of America and Israel and sometimes Ukraine. So it does not matter what the condemnation even looks like. It doesn't change anything. Palestinians.
Let me finish my point.
Okay, go ahead. Finish your point.
The point is that the result of this, these people are pro-Palestine. The result of this is literally the opposite of any possible intended consequence, which is A, Netanyahu gets more power internationally and domestically when people already fucking hated him and his government. The Western countries are basically backing up Israel's genocide and encouraging it and sanctioning it. The Gazans are now being bombed. Their food, power, water is being shut off, although that happens regardless at times.
Always.
But so like
if the argument here is that if Second Thought had not tweeted this, or if other YouTubers and other people on Twitter had not tweeted their celebrations, that do we think that the world's perspective would be different on Israel's bombing campaign currently? If you think that, like, legitimately, if not a single person had tweeted this, do you think that the situation on the ground would be different?
Does it matter to you that this might be anti-Semitic?
Oh, wait, what do you mean?
Well, you're saying you're treating this as if it doesn't matter at all, and that's
yes,
you're not.
I don't think it matters at all.
And you're not Israeli.
Yeah, I don't think it matters at all in the grand scheme of things whatsoever.
So you're saying
because the question
hold on. Your point,
answer my question,
go ahead.
please. Let's say JT and Hakeem or any number of different Twitter users had not been so callous in their indifference for civilian casualties in this situation. Not a single person had tweeted anything. Do you think that there would be more support for Palestinians?
Obviously not, but listen to
so
what
why
I'm
are we
saying,
having this
bro.
conversation then?
He's influencing people. He's not. Is this tweet going to change what's happening on the ground? No.
No, of course
But these opinions being broadcast by respected people in politics is going to contribute to fucking more violence. He is.
In what regard?
Because people
like,
who sympathize with him are gonna be like, yeah. I mean, he's basically.
Do you think Palestinians are going to see JT's
no, the
tweets?
acceptance of people, and that's fucking anti-Semitism, bro.
The acceptance of what people?
The acceptance of people internationally who look at this guy saying, "Let's fucking kill all the Israelis because they're all occupiers."
I don't agree with that take.
That's what he's saying. All of them are valid targets for political violence. That's the point that's what Hakeem said, dude. That implies that all the Palestinian people are pro-Hamas. I didn't read it that way, but obviously I do not believe that. Just personally, I don't believe even the majority of Palestinians support Hamas. I think their support was like prior to October 7th. I think it was like 11% or something. Did you reach the sub goal? Nope.
He's making.
I'm being hyperbolic. But it's not that far from what he said. I mean, he's called every Israeli an accomplice in genocide and an occupier.
It's like freaking out. It's like freaking out when the Iranian leadership like fucking burns an American flag or whatever and be like, they hate us, they're gonna come for us, they're gonna kill all of us. Like there is no conversation to be had here that is like serious because
bro, I just disagree. I mean, you were telling me today how much influence I have. Why does it not matter that people use this?
The influence you have is upon your fan base. The influence you have upon your the influence you have upon your fan base was specifically in regards to okay. Let me dial it back real quick and explain something. This is a basic fundamental that I believe in. I believe that our culture and our attitudes are entirely reflected on the material realities on the ground, that our material realities guide our culture and our attitude towards certain things. I don't believe that you can move the needle in the other direction. I don't believe that you can tweet a revolution. As a matter of fact, many people laugh at hashtag activism and whatnot, but I do think that it goes in the opposite direction. I do think that you can't, make a super sweet YouTube video that ends up destroying the white supremacist court structure in the United States of America. However, I do believe that if you go in the other direction and promote more of the state-sponsored violence, you absolutely can motivate people to feel more justified and demand more from their governments.
Which is what he's doing,
do this.
right?
So if and only if there was a real, legitimate, well-established military machine that was capable of going and fucking killing every single Israeli citizen, like you said, he is justifying for, this would be as damaging as the average Israeli defense of the Israeli occupying force. Only then.
I just find it odd
And
that you
even
have
then,
to do the
and
whole what
even
about
then,
thing about this.
but Ethan, even then, there is no comparison because guess what? What he is saying as a singular YouTuber is represented by our elected leaders, is represented in the reality on the ground in the way that Israel is continuing its occupation and its bombing campaign in Gaza, which is why I think it is utterly and entirely a distraction to have assessments, to make assessments over.
Listen, I'm sorry that I care about it. I guess I'm just an emotional fucking idiot.
I'm not saying that at all. I perfectly understand why you care about it.
But it's important to me.
I understand why you care about it.
I disagree with that premise.
I think you should have him on to
clearly
ask
you
him.
disagree with
I think you should
his
have him on to
premise.
ask him. Because I personally disagree with this assessment,
Yeah.
and I think it's unhelpful and unproductive overall.
Okay,
but
we agree. But I think he's evil.
But
He's
I
a
also
scumbag.
will point once again that what he's saying here is the Israeli policy in the other direction. It has been the reality in the other direction.
Which is not good.
I know you don't agree with that, but I'm saying because you don't agree with that, it is.
This is the main problem I'm having with all this stuff.
I know that's the main problem you have with all this stuff, and that's why I'm trying to say it's not even remotely a point of contention, and it's not even remotely equivalent, and it's not even remotely.
I don't think people should be
have this conversation.
This guy's way too comfortable just going out there publicly and being applauded.
What do you think is the solution here? What should be done with him?
Kyriew.
What criticism doesn't stand on its own? Why do I need to be punitive?
No, you said you're upset. I mean, I think you're well within your right to be.
I'm criticizing. I'm criticizing. I'm
Okay.
not asking for.
I think Ethan is well within his rights to criticize this guy. Does Hasan even know what he's arguing for? Honestly, I genuinely have no idea. Hasan's main point here seems to be like, well, I know you think that this guy's a monster, but I think you should talk to him more. And meanwhile, Ethan's like, but this guy seems like he's saying political violence towards literally anybody in Israel is justified. And Hasan's like, no, he's not saying that. But it's like, he kind of is. Like, if you look at what he's saying, the implication there is that it is totally fine to kill, babies, toddlers, civilians, non-combatants. Yeah.
I think you're well within your right to be critical of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, though, I will reaffirm my position that if he was saying this about Palestinians instead of Israelis, that would not only be not condemned at all by a singular person, that would be the specific policy position.
If he was saying that about Palestinians, people would absolutely condemn it. But the thing that's driving me nuts here, right? The thing that's driving me absolutely nuts is that Hasan's like, well, but if he was saying it about Palestinians, no, it would be fine. People would be fine with it. But it would be wrong in both cases. I've been sitting here for the past month criticizing the state of Israel for painting every Palestinian as a target because maybe Hamas might be sheltering in a building next door. Is Ethan skilled at debate, though? I don't know. I think Ethan has done absolutely great whenever he's in debate mode. My issue here is that Ethan isn't trying to debate Hasan. Ethan is trying to have, like, a conversation with Hasan because he's hurt. His feelings are hurt that Hasan doesn't give a shit that, like, about what, like, Ethan is going through, you know?
Position
Okay.
of the entirety of the Western world.
Israelis and the Western world are monsters, then we shouldn't care when the opposite people are monsters because it
Not
doesn't
necessarily.
matter. Well,
I think
kinda
because
seems like what you're arguing.
No, that's not what I'm saying. Because
That absolutely seems like what you're arguing.
don't agree with what he's saying, regardless.
But
However,
why does it matter then?
However,
if we're just taking this comment, and I just want to point it out for the evil it is, like why does it? I just don't understand the
told you
need
this
for
already. Any issue to be taken up with Westerners and the optics of like what they are saying should be talked about with respect to the impact that those words will have. Which is why I said if you think that this is genuinely going to be impactful, then that's another conversation to have.
I think it matters, man. I wouldn't say it doesn't matter. But anyway, clearly you don't agree, and that's just my opinion on the guy.
I do not agree with his assessment. Yes.
And so let's see. Moving on to, I mean, we've talked about.
But I think you would agree with.
Like that's the thing, right? Like Hasan says he doesn't agree, but then he continues to go to bat for it. You know, like Ethan here's like, okay, so let's move on, and Hasan's like, but wait, what if we didn't move on though? What if we talked about this more?
This assessment if he was talking about settlers in the West Bank, though, right?
I mean, I wouldn't go so far as to say that, you know,
kill babies in the West Bank. Of course, you wouldn't say that.
But like theoretically, I don't think settlers are civilians.
They're not.
But
they
he's
are not
talking about
recognized
all
as civilians by international law. They are technically considered terrorists.
That's an important
I agree.
distinction. That he's
Yeah, but like, why are you pausing the conversation there to like make that point at Ethan when we're like, again, 3 hours into this conversation? Ethan has repeatedly said he would have far less of a problem if like Hamas had like targeted settlers. Because again, settlers arm themselves. Settlers like go and burn down Palestinian homes, you know, like with people alive inside. Like there is a big difference between a settler in this context and like a civilian. And I mean, like early on we saw footage of like that settler who just like walked up to a Palestinian guy, shot him in the stomach while an IDF soldier looked on, and then just like strolled away. And then took pot shots at the ambulance when it showed up. Like, we know that. We've seen that. Ethan knows that. He's said that repeatedly throughout this conversation, but Hasan's like, but wait though, would it be, you think it'd be okay if it was about the settlers though, right? But like, why are you stopping to like bring that up as if that's what JT said in that tweet? Because he didn't say that in that tweet. He said all Israelis. So like, why are you trying to like conjure a hypothetical different version of what he said? That has already been answered by Ethan.
He's not making.
The distinction that he's making is that he's talking like it's 1952. You know what I mean? That's the difference. And it's not 1952. You can't make this assessment.
Thank you. You know, we were talking about the, let's see. Man, this video's sick, dude. Again, I know you're going to say this is just like a small rally that happened, but there is a certain level of comfort. I mean, this doesn't seem like a small rally, frankly. There's a lot of people out here, and they're just out there, and here's the speech that one of the organizers has to say about the Hamas. Oh, you haven't seen this?
I can't see. Well, first of all, I can't see anything because I don't have my fucking goddamn glasses. I forgot.
I full screen it.
But also, secondly, I mean, yeah, I don't know what the fuck this is going to be.
Well, it's crazy. It's crazy. But listen to what this guy has to say.
Broke through the fence. They put the F-35 on.
What is he saying?
You'll hear it. It's a little fuzzy right now. Here.
And as you might have seen, there was some sort of rave or desert party where they were having a great time until the resistance came in electrified hang gliders and took at least several dozen hipsters. But I'm sure they're doing very fine despite what the New York Post says. but nobody had seen this coming.
He's talking about Hamas killing over 200 people at a concert.
Every Israeli official said it was a complete surprise. And I think we have to sit with that, because as of just a couple days ago, they said that surprise wasn't possible. They said we control every inch of Palestine.
No, they don't!
They said we have walls, we have cameras, yes, we have traitors too, and there's nothing they can do that we won't see of what we do. They were so arrogant. But just less than 24 hours ago, on the land, from the sea, and from the air, the people of the Gaza Strip, our people from Gaza, our young people are riding their bikes through these settlements where they were told they could never go because of apartheid. Our farmers, the farmers of Gaza, you know they say that they can't even have tractors. They say that's terrorist equipment. Well, unfortunately for them, the tractors of these various so-called kibbutz settlements have been liberated and taken back to their farms.
In before uncomfortable Hasan waffling. Yeah, you can like see Hasan like licking his lips in the lower corner and just being like, "How am I gonna waffle on this one today?"
I don't even. Yeah. Okay. Like.
Okay.
I don't.
I'm just criticizing people. You don't have to comment if you're not comfortable about it.
Okay. I mean, I have no.
I mean, he was just like, I don't like this shit.
Okay.
It bothers me.
I understand why. I understand
He
why
goes,
you don't like
the
it.
electrified hang gliding heroes flew in and killed a bunch of hipsters partying. They were having so much fun at the party till these fucking heroes showed up and mass murdered everyone. Oh, and we liberated the kibbutz, by the way. Everyone's cheering. We
Okay.
liberated the kibbutz, aka beheading babies.
I will once again present to you the same exact question. If this rally was not held and if he had not said those things that I do not agree with, do you think that there would be a difference in the analysis and the way that Palestinian people are treated? Do you think that there would be a difference in the bombing campaign that's going on? Or do you think that this is, once again, the violent sentiment of those who are siding with the oppressed that is ultimately
I don't know
utterly
about that,
and
but I'll tell
entirely
you.
inconsequential?
I'll tell you this.
Because
I know
all
that's
this
fucking
does,
evil.
all this does,
I know that.
all this does,
And I have no problem to
is
say it.
all this does is to serve a singular purpose, and that purpose I do not believe you are on board with, but that purpose is cynical. When people go, look at these guys, they're all violent. That is, by design, what mainstream media in America is doing when they constantly, exclusively cover the Palestinian side.
That's not what I've done
specifically
here
about
today.
like these guys. I know you're not
I've
doing
just
that.
spent 2.5 hours talking about.
Even I know.
So I just want to listen. I
know
just
you're
want to
not
say
doing
this
that.
guy's evil. He is. He's an evil dude. There's just, you know what I mean? Like, fuck this guy and fuck all these people. That's just not it, man. And once again, this is right after. This is right after it all happened.
Yes.
And we're talking about the hang gliding heroes. I mean, I'm sorry, but it's sick, and I think it needs to be called out. I don't think it's good to normalize this kind of shit.
We should keep calling it out. We should only call this out, which is what many are doing whenever.
Like, I mean, your friend's trying to call out heinous shit, and he's already on this show in front of you repeatedly called out the Israeli state as the aggressor. He literally just got done saying he would have had less of a problem if Hamas had targeted settlers instead of civilians. Like, I don't know why. I mean, like, I think I know. I think I get it, right? I think I get what Hasan is doing here. So I think Hasan has a concept of himself and his content where he feels that he has a duty to essentially run a counter narrative to mainstream media, where he sees what's happening on mainstream media, and so he feels like his job is to present a narrative counter to that. And it is an abdication to his responsibility to his audience, in his mind, again. If he steps aside and, like, acknowledges parts of the mainstream narrative, right? Now, the issue is, sometimes parts of the mainstream narrative are just accurate. You know, like the fact that over 200 people being massacred at a concert is bad. Or that, hey, people praising the massacre of people at this concert are bad. They are doing something bad. Right? And part of the issue with this approach is that he then gets kind of lost in the sauce and just can't acknowledge these valid points. Because, like, Ethan doesn't want... And we're over 3 hours into this, right? Ethan clearly doesn't want to just focus on like, people who were targeted within Israel, or people who are, or he doesn't just want to criticize people who are making statements about it in, you know, nominally pro-Palestinian that are weirdly also praising Hamas, right? Ethan has demonstrated that over and over and over again here. And Hasan just won't allow that to happen because he's dedicated to this this contrarian narrative, right? That he feels a duty to relay to his audience. And I think ultimately that is, now having watched this entire painful thing, right? Almost. I think that's the fundamental block between the two. I think that is the fundamental communication barrier that you're finding here, where he can't even overcome, Hasan can't even overcome that sense of obligation to, like, meet Ethan halfway and acknowledge that what this guy is doing is fucking awful. You can just say what that guy said was fucking awful. 200 people were died and he's praising that. And then you can move on to like condemning the Israeli government for its multiple war crimes every day. You can do both.
There's any mention of, I know you're not.
About us.
I know you're not.
Yeah.
But this is why I'm like, there's not
I'm calling
a single
both out.
There's not a single outlet that ever legitimately
I don't belong
shows
to those networks.
the ongoing and never-ending plight of Palestinians.
I'm just trying to
only
call
talk
out
about
both
Palestinian activists
sides.
like this. They show these pieces of footage and go, look how violent these guys are. Look how violent the left is overall. These guys are all leftists. Look at them. They're leftists. They love terror. They love terrorism. And we are talking about this in a country where, like, there is no, like, the guy you brought up, JT, okay, who I disagree with on that front. He has had the Department of Homeland Security visit his home for his for a YouTube video that he wrote. No, not for that. It was a YouTube video that you would agree with if you watched it. It was about the Department of Homeland Security in and of itself. I believe it was something about CIA. Like, there is no real legitimate, genuine, and continued support for Palestinians, and there is no legitimate, real, and continued leftist momentum happening.
Excuse me.
Especially one that is, like, associated with any kind of tangible move on the ground. So that is why it is, you know, frivolous to have this endless back and forth that already is happening all over mainstream media. There's no, especially in America, they don't bring up like Mohammed al-Kurd, whose home was violently seized. They don't have him on to talk about these issues. They just go, look at these crazy leftists.
I don't think listen, I don't think a 30 I don't mean this. I don't think this monologuing is essential to calling this guy evil. That's all.
All right. Are there more wrongs committed by Americans who are speaking on Palestine that we can go through? I'm down to go through more of it if you have more.
This is a massive rally in Sydney, Australia. And again, we bring up the issue of, like, it's inconsequential. Well, according to this massive rally outside the Sydney Opera House.
Rest in peace, Ms. Drislin and Katya. You both just passed away from malaria. The first deaths of our campaign.
They're not making a distinction between Israelis and Jews, actually. I'll play it for you. Gas the Jews.
Jesus.
Etc. Etc.
This is the out of everything that you've shown me, this is
Hey, look. Someday I'll be bigger than Hasan, baby.
demonstrably the worst. Like, because this has genuine impact on the ground in whatever nation that we're talking about. That is unequivocally and uncritically anti-Semitic, completely.
Wait, how is this different meaningfully from like a rally where a guy is saying actually it was good when they massacred like 200 people to a cheering crowd? Sorry, like how is this meaningfully different? Exactly?
Indefensible. No, like
I guess the difference being he wasn't saying all Jews should be killed, I guess, but this doesn't seem to be a super meaningful distinction for how bad it is, I guess.
No additions to that
Can I ask you a
whatsoever.
question then?
What?
Let's say that one of this,
And that does lead to, I think, furthering anti-Semitic, and it not only is it unproductive, but that does, I think, lead to a real and tangible impact on the ground.
So let me ask you this.
What's up?
A fan of Second Thought who's listened to him dehumanizing Israelis that way, do you think that listening to him might inspire one of those people to be like, hey, I'm going to go join this,
What, Hamas?
Well, no, I mean, it's a pro-Palestine.
You think a fan of Second Thought's going to see? Okay, let's walk through it. You think a fan of Second Thought's going to see that and be like, I'm going to go to Gaza. I'm going to join Hamas.
That's not what I said. I said he's going to go down to the Upper Sydney at this location and be like, hey, yeah, fuck, let's gas the Jews. Everyone's saying it. Nobody seems to care.
I guess it could happen. Certainly.
Okay.
Okay, but once again,
Why is he laughing about it? What? I don't understand the emotional energy that's happening here.
I mean, this is fucking gross, by the way, 100%. It's just ridiculous. It's disgusting. What I was going to say is, I'm still thinking about a Second Thought YouTube fan being like, I'm going to go rise up in the global jihad and rise up against Israel and purge it.
I understand that.
May Allah guide my weapons.
I understand you think it's silly.
I do.
But again,
I think it's
I'm
silly.
responding to your point about how none of this matters. And I disagree with that premise. I do.
Yeah, that guy.
This is how I'm.
This is really weird and gross, right? Like, that's not just me. Like, my gut reaction to this is like, I'm kind of speechless, to be honest.
Picturing.
He's like, it's time to do a jihad against Israel and all the Jews.
You're not even, yeah, but that.
I mean, like, yeah. Second Thought's point was that they are all valid targets of political violence. Like, I mean, like, granted, Second Thought didn't make the connection between, like, you know, you should like all Jews are valid targets of this political violence. But like, that's a very fine line, you know? That's a very fine line.
That wasn't my point.
No,
He's just going to join the rally.
Let's be serious. Let's be serious. You're right. I think that conflations, no matter who's doing it, of anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism are very dangerous. And I think that saying anti-Semitism is like fuck the Jews when you're talking specifically at a anti-Israel rally or pro-Palestine rally is really fucked up, completely unacceptable. And yeah, I don't know what else to say about it other than yeah, of course I condemn that. That is, I mean, there's always people that try to sneak in little anti-Semitic shit in my chat all the goddamn time. Whenever I'm talking about these stuff, they're like, "Ooh, why do you think the American media turns a blind eye to this? Maybe because they own it." And I'm like, "Okay, motherfucker, Jews don't own the media, wasps do. Okay, so shut the fuck up." Like, there is always going to be people that try to take advantage of these sorts of things, and ultimately. The reality on the ground is unchanging, and the opinion of our governments are unchanging on what do you call it, the way that we turn a blind eye to one side of the atrocities and also completely justify the reaction that the state engages in. But yes, I do think that could lead to. I do think that that is anti-Semitic, and that will lead to anti-Semitic sentiment spreading. It is completely unacceptable, and it should never be normalized. And it should be fought against.
That's all I'm trying to do,
That is not what that is not what being a defender of Palestine is about.
Right.
It is not what being a defender of the emancipation of all people is about. It's completely ridiculous.
And so here, this is one more. This happened in Brighton, in England. I'll just play it real fast. Another rally.
Dude, there's gonna be. It's like that dude who like. There's some random fucking guy who like Googled swastika and like pointed.
Yeah, I'm not showing that one because that one's silly. It's just
no, I know, but my point is this, right? There are always in every fucking in every kind of protest there are going to be charlatans, clowns. What matters is not necessarily like the BLM protesters that are saying fucking kill all white people when you find them in a fucking BLM protest. What matters is like the actual action that the state is taking. So that's why I never for even a singular moment am ever going to hear the calls of like the ethnic cleansing from like random Kahanis on the ground celebrating Israel's actions against Gaza and be like, wow, this is truly important, because I know that their opinion on the matter is inconsequential.
It's not like this is true,
but
I'm
it's
not
also
making a
policy.
I'm not making like a mountain out of it. I'm just saying that it's fucking gross. And I mean, do you deny that there's at least there are a lot of people that believe this shit? There are.
Of course, anti-Semitism is certainly a major issue.
And I think it's important to make a good effort to separate the issues.
Yes, I do agree with you, and I do that all the time. But like I said, the reason why I look at this and consider it to be utterly unproductive is because having random charlatans and people who have violent opinions.
Yeah, I mean, these are well-attended rallies.
But I know.
Yeah, and organizers.
But this does not reflect upon, again, the situation on the ground. It does not reflect on people who are defending.
You know what? I'll say this. I agree.
Okay.
I agree with you.
So
we don't even need to argue about it. I agree.
I have to pee again. God damn it.
Right. I'm getting too defensive. I agree with you.
And I don't know why I'm like, why I have to, I don't know why I'm going through each individual protest to be like, this is bad. This is bad.
Right. Well, we just did it.
Well, I mean, Ethan's going through them because he wants to condemn those activities and say like, oh, that this is really gross. Like if Hasan, if you don't want to, like, that, you don't have to condemn those things. Like, it just seems like, I mean, I think I already nailed it on the head. Like, Hasan does not want to engage in anything that could even possibly resemble a mainstream narrative. It is anathema to him.
With the
what?
With the the genocidal monsters who are calling for the death of,
Yeah, we glanced through it, and my point there wasn't necessarily to be like, this is the opinion of these guys and their moving policy. I know that their opinion doesn't matter because the policy is already set. The policy reflects what they're saying. I even told you they're comfortable saying those things because there's no punishment that I even expect them to withstand for those statements, because I don't care about their statements. I don't care about the public opinion in that regard. I care more about the actions of governments and what the media is doing. And I think everything that you've shown me thus far is subject to a role reversal that literally is the reality. A role reversal that is actually demonstrably what the media is pumping out.
That's what I agree with, and I've shown both sides, and I just don't understand the insistence that it just doesn't matter. because the other side is doing it. You know, it's like, I don't know, man. Here, I mean this.
For me, yesterday was a victory. As a Palestinian, yesterday was a victory. For freedom fighters in Gaza to break out of a 15-year blockade so successful.
I just killed a dog in RimWorld, and I feel really bad. Oh.
Under the inhumane genocide from Israel was so beautiful and inspiring to see. It shows us as Palestinians, and it shows the world and us from Palestinians that we will always fight and we will always resist, and we need to celebrate these acts of resistance because this is a success.
Yeah, and again, this
like so she's saying this is an act of resistance. This is like it's happening while this is like on October 7th or October 8th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a displaced Palestinian woman.
Yeah.
So
she said the mass murder of civilians is.
Oh, I just killed another dog.
inspiring and
Why?
beautiful. She said that.
Okay.
And then she also said.
Didn't you originally maintain the position that, like, yeah, displaced Palestinians are going to have they're going to say things that in the heat of the moment are impassioned and oftentimes not empathetic to the civilian casualties on the other side? I mean, it's just. That's
the point is that people see this stuff and it matters. Especially, you know who it really matters to is like, you know, the demons that fucking want to actually kill the Palestinians, because this is like the perfect, you know, ammunition.
Well, don't you feel like you're also serving their purpose then when you endlessly talk about the
First of all, not endlessly talking.
not endlessly, but like
videos.
showing this and like parading all of this. I think that.
Well, first of all, it's a political show. We're talking about all this stuff.
I agree.
And you know, I'm just showing what I've seen that bothers me.
I understand.
Does it help the conservative apparatus? I don't think me watching this now. I mean, these videos are all super viral. I didn't dig this out and put it out into the world.
I know. You know why they're super viral? Because of the things that you mentioned.
Shocking.
Yes. No, the reason why they're super viral is because you're right. It does help present all Palestinians.
I think it's super viral
because
it's
those
shocking.
who are demanding emancipation for Palestinians in a negative light by appealing to the understandable human emotions of saying, like, these are dead babies. You reflect that and you
Beautiful,
show
inspiring.
you're celebrating dead babies. You think that that's a revolutionary act. It's gross and it's disgusting.
Okay.
Right? So that's the major reason as to why these videos get.
And now, oh dear. Oh dear, Malord Ines. Malord Ines, who is 4 years old, is now smoking dope. Things are not going well.
It played all the fucking time, and the role reversal of said videos is reflected
four
as
more
current
subs until we hit
existing
the goal.
policy in both the United States and also in Israel.
I think
so much so that they don't even show in America Israelis who are literally pushing back against the administration and say that the violence is caused directly by the Israeli administration's positions. Like, that's how fucking bloodthirsty we are here in the Western world. It is like the condemnations only work in one direction, and I have done it over and over and over again, and I will continue to do so if presented with this kind of thing. But the reason why I think this is an unserious or frivolous conversation to be had is because of rallies being conducted, ultimately not yielding any sort of serious results in general, and certainly not on behalf of Palestinians. If you look at the 75 years of brutal occupation.
Right.
Like, and I don't think Palestinians on the ground give a shit either, for the record. Like, they don't, like, this is not going to, if this footage did not exist.
It is going
if this
viral because
rally-
it is shocking, though.
Yes, if this rally did not exist, like, would one singular baby not be obliterated in the Gaza Strip? No. So I don't have a, like, I don't give a shit. You know what I mean? Or if more,
I mean,
if
this
more
stuff
rallies
matters,
existed
man.
on the other side.
Kyryu!
You're welcome, chat.
Well, when we finish this, looks like we got some analog horror to watch. Let's go!
Of people, because there's tons
stuff matters,
there's tons
man.
of counter
Kyryu!
I disagree.
That you showed were literally counter protesters of a rally where people were talking about solidarity with Palestine. Remember the Kahanis guy who was like, obliterate all the Jews that we like, move past, because I think it's frivolous and inconsequential in the grand scheme of things, because the American government is going to do what it's going to do, and Israel is going to do what it's going to do, regardless of whatever people fucking say on the ground. And that the overarching consensus view
Woke up
on
from
the
my nap just
Palestinian
in
front,
time.
due to things like this being highlighted and not necessarily the voice of activists who do
Yes,
not
you
say
can.
things like this, is already entirely and deliberately
Thank you for the $5 dono.
On behalf of like all Palestinians being terrorists. It's just, this is why I say it's unproductive, because there is no one who is being promoted in mainstream media as like a good voice for Palestinian people, and those who do actually say, I condemn the violence, but here is the reality of why this violence occurred.
They weren't all Palestinians that I showed, but listen.
No, I know.
I understand.
But you understand what I'm saying,
Yeah,
right? Like
I do.
this is a deliberate way in which you look at.
But I also think that
a
this
person or different rallies and you cast a negative light on the entire Palestinian liberation movement.
That's
not
why it
saying you're
matters.
doing that.
That's why it matters. Like,
Am I a little babby in game now? Well, we need to be able to recruit somebody first. But yes, you will be soon.
I know,
Hey,
but
Sector
it's
C.
optics. It's an optics
I'm playing
conversation,
RimWorld.
And in the grand
Zakina.
scheme of things, having an optics conversation about like, oh, I can't believe they said this. Look at how violent they are, while simultaneously,
I'm not they. This, you know what I mean? Like, I know what you're saying.
Okay, how
but it feels
violent
personal
these
'cause we're
specific
having a
individuals
conversation about
are, but like at a certain point, this doesn't serve any other purpose than what Ben Shapiro would do, to be like, look at how violent they are, and that is the mechanism of manufacturing consent working in unison. Yes, there are people that say condemnable shit. This does not change my mind on Palestinian emancipation, and it should not change your mind.
No.
If you're watching at home, I know it doesn't change your mind.
But it probably does have an influence on people being more hateful, more dehumanizing to Israelis, and in some extreme cases, anti-Semitic.
Ethan, when you see a video, you're in support
By the
of
way,
Black Lives Matter.
She says we need to celebrate these
Okay,
acts
you're
of
in support
resistance.
of Black Lives Matter, right? You're in support of Black Lives Matter as a movement in general. You are.
I mean,
I know you are.
Okay.
I mean, come on. When you see videos when right-wingers in America present videos of Black Lives Matter supporters and activists and even leaders saying, that cop died and it was good that that cop died, and they show that and go, look at the situation. These guys are all violent. They all want to fucking kill cops. They all want to kill white people. They show wanton and callous indifference to the death of.
But Ethan isn't saying that. He's saying people praising a massacre are bad. Right? This is not at all comparable to, like, saying, oh, fuck the police. It's just not comparable to that. Like, I don't know what is happening here. He literally does not give a single ounce of consideration to Jews here. His only metric for harm caused by speech is if it harms Palestinians. We should have counter narratives. We can't just stick our head in the sand and pretend people out there aren't going to say the bad thing. Well, true. The issue I have isn't that Hasan is presenting a counter narrative, right? The issue I have is that he's married to the counter narrative. That he cannot also see the mainstream narrative, and that the mainstream narrative in parts, has valid points, right? That's the main issue that I have here. Like, dude, just
of whites. They all want to fucking kill cops. They all want to kill white people. They show wanton and callous indifference to the death of whites in general. When they show footage like that, does that change your perspective? Do you all?
I mean, look, I don't know that it's that hard that if there was like a BLM protester that was like giving a speech to a crowd of people, right? Hypothetical, right? And they were saying, all white people are valid targets of violence. I'm sorry. I would not agree with that. I would find that pretty easy to say, oh no, that's bad. That's not a great narrative. Like even in this hypothetical he's constructing, like, it's not that hard to, like, if one of these examples of like a protester like saying something during like BLM that's bad, It's not that hard to like be like, oh yeah, you know, I agree with BLM. Oh, but that guy was fucking crazy. Not that hard. You mean saying kill all whites isn't good? Yeah, I am saying that. And I am saying, like, yeah, if somebody is saying that a massacre of civilians was good, I'm saying it's okay to say fuck that guy. I don't understand the issue with the why this is complicated. It's different with colonizers. Children is off limits, but I can see the Palestinian perspective is different. Not calling for innocent people, just living their lives, to be clear. Well, the main issue is a lot of people are colonizers if you go back far enough, you know? Like, I don't think just being a colonizer, you know, which, by the way, is now a very broad term, is enough to say they're a justifiable target for political violence. I don't think that's enough. Which is why I think settlers that are armed and actively doing violence to Palestinians, valid target for violence. Valid target for political violence, you know? Because those people go and, like, burn people alive, you know? They go and they just murder entire families. They do the ethnic cleansings on behalf of the Israeli government. Valid target for political violence. But you know what's not a valid target for political violence? You know, attacking them and then killing their civilians. You know, killing their children, killing their grandmothers. You know, not a valid target for political violence. I don't have trouble making that distinction. You know who's not a target for political violence? 200 people at a concert. Not valid targets for political violence. Does that make sense? I mean, they called natives savages when they tried to take back their lands. Yeah, they did. They did, and that was bad. The colonial project is bad. Yes. I see, it's not that hard. It's not that hard to condemn that. I've literally been sitting here for the past month talking about this. On, like, and relaying, the narratives coming out of the Gaza Strip. But that doesn't mean all civilians in Israel are valid political targets. There is a distinction to be made there, and if you don't make it, then it opens up a wide array of horrific possibilities. Part I find so strange about Hasan, I feel he's just performing for his own audience. I mean, kinda, yeah. Right? Seems Hasan and Ethan have their wires crossed here. Hasan is saying that hate speech has no impact on policy, and Ethan is saying we have to stomp out hate speech that calls for all Israelis to die. I don't even think that Ethan is calling for hate speech to be stomped out. I think Ethan is just saying, yeah, if you see someone calling for the massacre of Jewish people, that's bad. I think if you see someone saying that it's okay to attack Israeli civilians, that's bad. I think that Ethan is saying you should criticize when people say heinous, objectionable shit that could possibly motivate others to violence. You know? I think that's fine. You know? Like, I think if I see Nazis doing a rally, I should be able to say, you know, fuck those guys. They're bad. I think if I see someone saying heinous shit about, like, hey, we need to kill all civilians in Israel because they're complicit, I think that's bad. That's a bad argument. And I also think that if you see an Israeli saying we should kill all Palestinians because Hamas is there, that's also a bad argument. If someone's making a bad argument, you should respond to it and be able to say that it's bad. Am I simplifying this enough? Is this as I'm saying this, is this intelligible to you guys? You understand what I'm saying? As I grow older, I realize that some people, for some incomprehensible reasons, can't condemn genocide or even massacres. I lose a bit of hope, but maybe it'll get better. Maybe. But do you guys get it? I need you guys to like post nodders in chat or yes in chat. I need to know that you guys understand. I need to know that I have conveyed my point correctly here. Cause like Ethan for like the last 3 fucking hours of this podcast has been saying stuff like, yeah, settlers are valid targets for political violence multiple times. Yes, and he's been like, yeah, I think that, like, I totally understand the origins of Hamas. Like, Ethan has been on board with condemning Israel, and yet the entire goddamn time, Hasan keeps treating him like he's hostile to this point. When they agree on literally every aspect of this. The main point where they diverge is when, like, Ethan is like, hey, I actually think that this is a pretty heinous thing to say. And Hasan's like, well, yeah, I mean, it's obviously heinous. But, you know, but what if it wasn't heinous, though? like that seems to have been the pattern of this conversation. Thank you for giving me assurance, chat. One of my greatest frustrations is when I'm not able to convey my idea.
Also think,
not mine, but maybe
not
some's.
Okay, it changes some people's perspectives. Do you think that those videos or the weaponization of those videos is what serves a purpose in changing people's minds, in propagandizing them against Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, it's part of why it matters.
No, do you think it's the
I mean, no, like, Habibi, I get it. I get it. The Palestinian people have been oppressed for 75 years, for longer than that, for like over a century. Like, the issue here is, I don't think it's an ethical thing to call for, like, you know, the hypothetical nuclear bomb to be dropped on Israel. You know, obviously no one has one to drop on Israel, but I think it would be bad to just indiscriminately murder people in Israel. I think that is bad, even when, like, the state is the aggressor. But if you are against the state of Israel, then direct your violence at the state, not at civilians. This is a distinction that I think is vitally important. It is what separates atrocities from, like, revolutions, in my mind. But, you know, whatever. I mean, if somebody wants to, like, go and make the argument that you should just pull out an AK and mow down Israelis, I'll be here saying that that's a shitty argument and bad and should be opposed, I guess.
Singular act itself, or is it the propagandizing of and the weaponization of those videos that serve a purpose in
Yeah, that's fucked up. That's what I'm saying, right? I'm saying don't do and advocate for the fucked up thing. Instead, do and advocate for the good thing that's not fucked up. Or at least the less fucked up thing in an incredibly fucked up situation. And I'm sorry if I'm frustrating myself at you. This has just been a very frustrating conversation to experience. And that's not your fault.
In, you know, creating anti-BLM sentiment.
I don't think it's you know, BLM, you're talking about different situations. I don't even know.
What do you
Oh
mean?
God,
It's-
Paladin
I don't
lost.
think
Why are you starting a
comparable. I mean, we're
fire?
talking about-
Jesus.
I mean, they're
Palestinian
like, hold on.
emancipation, and
BLM, we're talking about like riots. We're talking about like breaking into buildings. In Israel, we're talking about murdering 1,500 people, decapitating babies, burning families alive. That she called beautiful. We need to celebrate. So the severity of it is not the same.
Okay. Black Lives Matter is an emancipatory movement to stop the disproportionate killing and targeting and stop the
Hasan, what
disproportionate
are you
killing and
about to
targeting
do?
of black people in the hands of the police. Right, under a white supremacist criminal justice system, these issues have gone unnoticed for far too long. Palestinian liberation is identical as far as the struggle goes, which is extended beyond the treatment of black people under a white supremacist police force, but literally is a legalized apartheid structure. Okay, so these are both emancipatory causes. Do you think that when people bring up random footage of like Black Lives Matter activists or even the Hamas thing, the BLM, the BLM Chicago account that's like unaffiliated with anything, posting a photo of the Hamas parachuters, right, and saying this is Palestinian emancipation. Do you think that when people do that, they're doing that because they genuinely think like, oh, we need to clean up our message here? Us BLM supporters, we need to clean up our message here.
I think it's more about like influence.
If you are running comms for a massive political movement organization, yeah, that's probably something you should take into account. Yeah. Actually, I don't this comparison is bizarre.
Influencing not just the people who are there, but also the people who constantly see this kind of language and think that that's the language of like of the resistance, or this is the way that we should be talking about this.
Okay. So the more positive situation in that regard, if you were faced with that, if you were faced with someone showing you this kind of footage, and you as a supporter of Black Lives Matter, you would say, yeah, this is silly, this is ridiculous, right? Like, yeah, it's bad, but also this is not what is reflective of the actual modus operandi of the movement in and of itself, and their cause is just.
I think, I don't know if we're getting lost in the woods a little bit, because I agree with you in that it's not an accurate representation of like the people as a whole. It just bothered me, and I wanted to call it out.
Okay, but you understand why like it can be. Not saying you're doing this.
I believe Ethan when he says this. I don't think Ethan has an agenda aside from this is heinous garbage that rubs him the wrong way, and he wants to make sure that other people know it's heinous. Oh God.
But it can be used to effectively propagandize and neuter any kind of emancipatory movement.
Yeah, true,
Okay,
the
good.
worm.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
You're not doing this because you do, I think.
God, why? Then you're not doing this. Then why are you bringing it up? Why are you bringing it up in this conversation with your friend who just wants to call out horrific takes on people, on the violence that killed people he knows? People he knows were killed on October 7th, and he just wants to call out people who are being heinous about that. I understand the desire to give narratives outside of the mainstream. It's literally what I do for a living, right? I get that. But also, while giving those narratives, you need to be able to temper it with accurate information that comes from mainstream narratives. Because sometimes those narratives have elements of truth in them. And yeah, like with Palestinians, it does require you to get outside of the mainstream quite a lot. But it's just it's so frustrating to see this, dude. Oh no, I got you, Habibi. You good. You good. Let him cook, as the kids say. I mean, let's see.
I know you are empathetic to Palestinians and their plight. However, many people in the media that are significantly
Okay, yep, no, I've accurately diagnosed this conversation. I'm kind of upset that I've used so much of my time and all of yours on this. This is so frustrating to have to sift through like hours of this to get to the fundamental issue here.
significantly more powerful and more influential than you and I combined times 10 are doing exactly what you just showed me, showing footage of this round the clock, and effectively radicalizing people against the Palestinians and the Palestinian position when an endless bombing campaign has currently taken the lives of more than 500 children, more than 500 children in Gaza. This is why I find this conversation to be utterly and entirely unproductive, especially because we are an independent media outlet in comparison to the sea of mainstream media conversations that are being had on exactly this issue. I understand where you're coming from when you are afraid, as a Jew in America, about the possible anti-Semitic, the rise in anti-Semitism. Of course, your co-host, myself, and many other people I love are we are seen as Muslim regardless of what our position is. And Islamophobia is also ever present. So I am sympathetic to your fears on multiple different avenues. However, this is why I think it's a conversation that's being had all over the media. I don't know why we spend any additional time on it here, because it does have a intentional or unintentional way of casting a negative light on the emancipatory struggle of Palestinians, especially in the West.
Right, but I mean, it still is happening, though. So, like, should we not show it because it makes them look bad?
I think it's fine to show it and say this. I think it's unacceptable, and I think.
I think it's fine to show it and condemn it. That's literally all Ethan has been trying to do for like the last hour and a half, bro.
Optically speaking, this is not something that should happen.
Like,
but also do
basically what you're saying.
But also do it in the framework of like recognizing the overwhelming amount of media in the opposite direction that is the regular everyday
and just to be
media
clear,
coverage.
we did spend the first 2.5 hours doing just that.
No, I know. I know.
Do you though? Because you're acting like you didn't. I'm so... Oh. Ooh. Ooh. Ah. I mean, apparently they talked in private and they got a lot of this sorted out, but
But we talked more so about the real issues on the ground in the first 2.5 hours. Now we're talking about the optics. Now we're talking about the optics and how certain things are received in the West. And if we're gonna have a conversation about like media narratives or how certain things are received in the West and optics, then that's an entirely different conversation that is devoid of.
All right, listen, I see what you're saying.
What's going on the ground?
Think, yet again, we're basically in agreement. There's one more thing. I know this is fucking insane. This is the longest episode ever. It's already 3.5 hours, so thank you for staying.
Half the crew's left.
Are you serious?
I'm exaggerating.
I didn't even
Some people had to go.
Yeah. There's one more thing that, as is a dual citizen Israeli, as someone who knows a lot of Israelis, and by the way, knows all the horrible things that the IDF does. After I saw you say this, I was quite shocked because I hadn't heard that. And in my research, looking for it,
I have to pee.
Go ahead, I'll wait for you. No, well, I'll wait for you because I want you to see it. Go ahead, I'll wait. I'll talk to Dan.
Hey, what's up? Can we talk about the Taylor Swift movie yet? because we're 3.5 hours in. I feel like we're running out of time. We're not going to get to it.
Oh, it's a movie.
It's
It's a lot more than just a movie. You're
Dude,
underselling
are
it.
you
kidding me?
Did you not read the write-up I sent you last night?
It's an experience of a lifetime.
Eras.
I sent you a 13-page document that I spent all night on this morning, and you didn't even look at it, did you?
Is it in IMAX 4D?
God, I'm not answering that for you.
He
You do your
didn't
own.
read it.
You
Now
figure
you're
it
really
out.
screwed.
I'm so upset.
Why aren't we talking about the important things? Kidding.
Do you think that it is in IMAX 4D though?
Of course.
You can feel her
I
spit.
damn hope so.
You could feel
The
her
4D
spit.
experience.
Jesus.
Oh God. Can while we're waiting for Son to come back, can I just play this banger Trump?
Yeah,
clip?
yeah.
Totally unrelated to
Good idea.
anything.
Good idea.
Doesn't have anything to do with Israel, but very important nonetheless.
And I'm glad it's such because this is the worst microphone.
Quiet.
I think
Oh,
I've
let me turn it.
I hope you can hear me back there.
Oh, you couldn't hear it. See, his
And I'm glad
microphone's
it's such because this is the worst microphone I think I've ever had. I hope you can hear me back there. Justin, don't pay the bill for this mic. I'm blowing out
Don't
my
pay
voice
the
talking
bills
to
of
this
this
stupid
mic.
mic. This is the worst mic I've ever had. Okay, now we'll
He
get back to
sounds
the
fine.
speech. I'm trying to get their attention. Turn up the mic.
Turn off that mic.
It sounds fine.
Is it okay?
Eli, what's up? Something?
I had
And then I don't
Okay.
pay a bill, and they say Trump
Oh, do I want
doesn't
a
pay
coffee?
his
Fuck yeah.
contractors.
Thanks,
Fuck
Early.
yeah.
I love when Eli asks me if I want a coffee because it's like, let's go. Or it's a coffee time. Let's do coffee.
I want to say actually because we have a moment here. This has been really emotional, and it's just really nice to see both sides being able to talk and have a civil conversation.
I agree.
And educate each other. I've learned stuff from what
I
Hasan
learned
talked
stuff,
about
no
today.
question about it.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, yeah, I definitely feel like I was moved in ways that I didn't expect.
That's nice.
And I hope that people see, and I hope the audience agrees and doesn't ascend into dumb fucking.
No, well, obviously we have the chat off, but we do have our members Discord, and I've been monitoring that for the discussion that's been going on, and yeah, I think there's a lot of appreciation for the conversations that have been had today. In fact, there's so much appreciation that we just ticked over to 2.
Really? People
We're H 2.94, baby.
Wow.
We're almost back to H3. We're almost back to H3.
Well, 60,000's a lot at this pace.
Yeah.
What were we talking about?
So Ela was just saying, first of all, that she appreciates that we're able to have this conversation.
Speaking of, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the follow button. Do the things. Hit the subscribe button. Like the stream. How many of you have liked the stream? 71 of you. I am actually incredibly impressed. Thank you for hitting the follow button, the like button, everybody. Good job, y'all. You doing excellent. You doing excellent, baby girls. Damn, and we got like 13 new subscribers. Damn, good job, everybody. You blazed past 69. But do you condemn Taylor Swift? Obviously. Obviously. And also consider dropping some subs and donos. Just because. Still need to pay rent this month. We're almost done with this.
Conversation. And I was saying that I've definitely been moved in ways that I didn't expect in having this conversation. And further, I said that I hope that people, it's a hard conversation to have, and I don't think a lot of people are sitting down and doing it in this way. And I respect you, immensely. And I really appreciate that we can do this. And I hope that people in the comments don't descend into dumb fucking name calling and that actually can just like be civil like we've been, if you're, you know what I mean? Okay, here's the last thing, Hasan.
All right.
If you're ready.
No, I'm ready.
Okay.
Holy shit, it's 2 p.m.
Sorry, bro.
It's all good.
It's definitely going longer than I thought. But so I saw this, and my first thought was like, that's horrible. But I couldn't really find a lot of evidence to back it up. And like, well, let me play the clip.
I saw on the news today a guy who lives in Gaza said that Israelis are raping Palestinian women. Yes, Israelis raping Palestinian women is a well-documented part of Israelis' apartheid apparatus. So that part is not. That part, of course, comes with.
Anyway, that's the heart and soul. I mean, I don't necessarily have to
There is
I don't have to watch the rest because
there's a gag order on that was recently released on an Israeli soldier that had
Right here.
raped a Palestinian woman, and this kind of there it is.
So,
the
so,
IDF
so
removed the
this guy
gag order in
was
2016.
arrested.
Yeah.
And he was publicly shamed. How is this systemic rape as part of the institution of Israel?
The same concept exists in the American police force, where any kind of sexual act under the coercive institutions of like being incarcerated is understandably and also technically and morally considered sexual assault.
Mm-hmm.
There are reports of Palestinian women in captivity.
Oh shit.
Talking about that experience.
So let's see. I found one of the sources. I saw you like this tweet by this squirrel guy. So I just looked into
Jay Squirrel.
Yeah. So I just looked into all the
Who sometimes has good information and other times is just completely bonkers.
sources he posted. because I
Squirrel
was genuinely
Squirrel Guy.
Curious to know if that was true.
Squirrel Guy should be taken with so many grains of salt, okay?
I mean, well, so besides that article I just pulled up, which is like the one really prominent example I could find of an Israeli guard raping a Palestinian, and again, he was arrested and publicly named. But the other one, one of the ones that he quoted was like, I don't know what the fuck this is. Care.com. It's literally just like a little blurb. Palestinian females freed from Israeli detention said more than 15 fellow Palestinian women were.
CARE, I believe, is one of the largest like Muslim support agencies in like the United States. I believe.
Raped by Israeli interrogators to force them to confess to charges leveled against them and collaborate with the Israeli intelligence. Quote, Israeli investigators and intelligence officers keep videotapes of raping to blackmail the female detainees. She told IslamOnline.net, which is another website. So according to, I guess, this website, which I then went to, which just doesn't...
Oh, well, that's not going to be too helpful to you, is it?
Well, I translated it.
You can translate it.
Yeah, but like it just, I don't understand. This doesn't seem like super credible, at least, or I mean, it might be credible,
Do you have an issue with CARE or Islam.net or the...
Well, what is this?
The lack of...
I mean, listen, that's a huge claim. 15 Palestinian women were raped.
Mm-hmm.
I was sexually abused in photographs, she said. But like, what? I don't know what this is. What is this?
What do you mean?
Is this a source?
You're asking if it's credible.
Yeah, yes, CARE is credible. I think, at least.
What is...
CARE is
There's
the...
no source. There's like nothing here. Like, shit. I mean, that's a pretty extraordinary claim. I mean, fuck. Like it's serious to say that the Israeli apparatus is using rape systemically to oppress the Palestinians.
I think it's one of...
There's so many horrible things happening.
I think it's one of the many things that happens under institutionalization, and it happens in America as well, regardless of the same amount of care and consideration being given to those who are incarcerated in America. It's a similar concept. The CARE is the Council on American Islamic Relations, by the way.
Okay.
Just to say, my dad's part of CARE, the Michigan chapter.
We love CARE.
There you go.
My only problem is that there's like literally no source to this.
I agree that doesn't seem the best. That information is not presented in a very clear way.
But because like, you're the dude that posted this, that you liked his tweet, used this as a source, and I don't know what this is. It just doesn't seem very. I mean, I don't.
Well, you didn't know what CARE was.
I didn't know what CARE was, but like,
right.
I just came to this. I just typed in the headline that I saw,
right.
And I got to this page, and I tried to do more research about Israeli guards raping Palestinians. I found like another. Let's see. There's a tiny. Oh no, not this. Frankly, there wasn't much else other than like sporadic, isolated, unconfirmed, kind of nebulous accusations. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying like this one article is the only real significant one that I could find, and the dude was arrested.
They do have I think one of the reasons as to why it is not as widely reported on is gag orders. You can remove them from time to time, like it happened here, but
there's no evidence for that I'm aware of.
It's not incredibly it's not as incredibly well documented as some of the other things that Amnesty International has access to on the ground.
Okay. It's just, I don't know. It rubbed me wrong.
That seems like a weird thing to say, right? Like if you're going to claim that there's this systematic problem, you should have like evidence to back that up aside from like one anecdote, which is what it seems like there is here. If there is more if there is more to it here, like great. I would love to know more about that. But if it is like really one or two anecdotes here, like, yeah, I don't know how much credibility to give the systematic allegation. Is it true that like people in positions of power and authority will sometimes abuse that power and authority? Absolutely. In heinous ways? Absolutely. But like there's a difference between like one-offs and systematic. Systematic implies that there is like a formal or informal system dedicated to ensuring that this happens, that this behavior happens and is protected. And like, are Palestinian rights violated all the time? Absolutely. On a systemic level, absolutely. Does that include like sexual assault? Probably. But if I'm going to make that claim, I want to have evidence to back that up. You know? Saying it probably happens is not a strong enough, like, claim, I think.
A little bit, because it's just a big claim to make, and I don't know, like I'm not saying it's not true, because the IDF is horrible and they do horrible things, but like it's a special kind of evil, the way that you describe it, that once again I think dehumanizes the Israelis.
Today, a guy who lives in Gaza said that Israelis are raping Palestinian women.
And his sources, a guy in Gaza said this, which again, I just want like one reputable source.
Israelis raping Palestinian women is a well-documented part of Israel's apartheid apparatus. So,
like that's the issue, right? A well-documented part. If it's well-documented, it should be easy to provide evidence for it. Evidence of the system that is systematizing this abuse.
So that part is not
well documented, isn't true.
Yes. No. I think you're absolutely right. I think I should have used my words more carefully when saying that. It's a comment in passing, and that does have serious impact. I agree with you.
Okay. Thank you.
I think that the partnering of the instance that you just showed, on top of the gag order, on top of the treatment of institutionalized people in general, and the sexual violence that they are subjected to, that is considered legal in both America and everywhere else, due to a lack of getting adequate coverage to their issues.
Your point is that, and the incarcerated are abused.
On top of that, and on top of that, one thing that is not technically sexual violence, but coercion of a different magnitude is for example, gay Palestinians being blackmailed specifically to become sources of information.
I haven't read about that.
And things of that nature that still would be factored under that. You're right, though. I should have chosen my words more carefully.
Right, and listen.
And there is, I will present you more information on that as well.
Well, what does that mean?
Like I'll
look into
come
it.
back with more.
Like here, like if Hasan wants to back up his point, here you can like go and find something like this, right? This would be an example of like the thing he's talking about, right? Here's from Middle East Monitor. It's something that is corroborated in Haaretz. Israel soldiers and settlers blindfold, beat, urinate, and sexually assault Palestinian activists in West Bank. Right? A group of Israeli soldiers and settlers always included there, conducted a series of brutal assaults against 3 Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. According to the victims' accounts, as reported by Haaretz, they were subject to hours of abuse. On the 12th of October, they were physically assaulted, stripped of their underwear, bound, and photographed. Additionally, 2 of them were urinated on, one had cigarettes extinguished on his body, and another was sexually assaulted, with an Israeli assailant attempting to sodomize him. Yeah. So, yeah, like, this would be an example that one could point to. But at the same time, one documented incident, right? You have a second documented incident. And I have no doubt, by the way, that there is rampant sexual abuse. There is rampant problems with that, especially as it relates to settler violence. But like, we need more data points, so let's go find them. You know? Here is B'Tselem. Okay, this is from 2021. Sexism, homophobia, and harassment by settlers and soldiers. Life's routine in Hebron. Soldiers raid Palestinian home and harass occupants on the pretext that one threw a stone. After settlers throw stones at Palestinian passerbys and homes in the presence of soldiers.
Why you broke the window? Why you broke the window? كسر الشبابيك من اللي على الغرفة. بدور عليه. They throw the stone on our home and you attack us.
شو؟
Why you don't go to arrest the settlers?
أنا عرفته. خليهم يكسروا بس ما تقلقش. مجيء. هلو غدي لمتى؟ غدي لمتى؟ غدي لمتى؟
You in my home.
لمتى؟
I am in my home.
غدي لمتى؟ فوت البيت. يلا غدي لمتى؟ نو. ما بيرتينو غدي لمتى؟
Don't touch me, okay?
I'm not touching you, I'm touching the camera. غدي لمتى؟ لمتى؟ غدي لمتى؟ يزقلوك جدا عن اهلي. وخي البيت. وخي البيت.
Don't touch the camera. I work in Beit Salem. This is my job. He's in his home. Which home?
يعني هو بيقول لنا اطلعوا من الدار.
بقول لك روح على البيت وانت قاعد في البيت.
وانا قاعد في بيتي، تم تكسير الشبابيك داري وهم مبسوطين على الحكي. الو. روح البيت.
أنا بالبيت.
Don't throw box then. You know.
I am in my home. You're a stranger. You are in my home.
I don't want to be in your home. You throw rocks at me.
This is my home.
You don't know English.
I filming you because you are in my home.
السلام عليكم وعليكم السلام.
I did not realize that the video was not up. I'm so sorry. Jesus Christ.
I can't understand you. What you want?
Basically, again, this lady putting up with these soldiers just barging into her home.
Who throws the stone of the soldiers?
Your son.
My son? No, you lie.
From the window.
But that's my son.
Like, he's smiling. He knows he's lying.
Somebody from your house.
We don't know, but we'll see what it is.
I didn't see anybody.
But we can.
Oh god. Yeah, again, systematic abuse. Absolutely. Base dog knows what's up. I thought it was because TOS. Honestly, I wanted to be careful about TOS, which is why I initially didn't turn it on over, and then I just kind of forgot that I hadn't because I was really worried about what was going to happen to that woman. Yeah, they arrest children regularly. Absolutely. Systematic abuses exist. Obviously, the IDF, settlers, 110,000%, right? The thing I would want to see is like systematic sexual abuse, which is what Hasan is saying. Now, I want to know if that's like a systematic, like, as in like the IDF has specific protections, or like if the IDF is kind of like a thin blue line situation, like what we have here in the United States, where like cops will abuse their power and then other cops will just kind of like cover for them. Or if it's like the higher ups know that all of this is happening and just like it's all part of the settler colonial project, you know? I have a feeling that were I to look into this a lot more, which I'm not going to do right now, what I'd find is that there is probably a system like that in place that is informalized between the settlers and the IDF, where the IDF just kind of turns a blind eye to settler sexual assaults. I'm willing to bet that that's probably what is being talked about here, but again, I just don't I don't have enough data. And yes, we have surpassed the goal thanks to Kairyu. Thank you very much, Kairyu. And we have like 10 minutes left of this, so let's finish this up.
More information for you.
And again, like,
I'm really not about defending the IDF, even if it's a lie. I don't know, there's so many lies towards the Palestinians that I'm not going to be the one that goes to bat for them. I don't know, I think it's important to make sure that our information's accurate. You know?
everything you're super credible. It was just this one thing. It just rubbed me a little bit wrong. And like, listen, that's it. But I appreciate that you.
No, you're.
Thanks.
I think it's fair.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate.
Right, because like it does kind of matter, right? Like, I don't know. I think that it kind of matters if your enemy is like both like a child killer and like a murderer of the elderly and like desecrates corpses and stuff. Like, I think it matters if you can add like super rapist on top of that, right? Like, I think that matters.
Appreciate you saying that. That was basically my that was of all the things you said.
I'm not gonna lose a ton of sleep. I'm sure the IDF does heinous sexual shit. We've found enough evidence to be assured of that. The issue is whether or not it's systemic.
That was the one thing that I was like, I don't know about that. So I'm glad that we talked about that. The other things I don't know if you want to talk about was my spat with your friends, which at this point I'm like just fully apologetic.
The UN wrote a statement in 2019 noting lack of data on rape specifically. That's worth looking at. UN. I don't think this is it. Relief web? What is this? Okay. Present report. That was a monitoring conducted by the Office of the United Nations. Oh, the guy who just resigned. Yeah. In protest. Some violence. Intensification of settler-related violence. Killed and injured. Okay, this doesn't mention rape or sexual assault. A lot of this is specifically about death, which is grim. Yeah. Download the report, I guess. I'll take a look at that later. Thanks, Toas.
Towards them, you know, after talking about it and really, I don't know, I got more of an emotional insight.
No, it's understandable.
From you today that impacted me. And even though, you know, I felt provoked, I understand why, if in my opinion, they're not using the most delicate language because they're fucking angry and pissed. You know what I mean? And so, like, I need to be more charitable, I think, and less reactive because their pain is valid, and I need to acknowledge that and, you know, be more forgiving of less delicate language.
Well, I'll get back to you with more information on the documentation on rapes under incarceration.
Okay.
Because you know there are more studies.
Okay.
That, I mean, there is more.
Well,
great. Is the stream muted?
Nice.
No.
We'll figure it out.
Okay.
Yeah. Specifically, this.
Can I make one point on that?
Yeah, of course.
I mean, I think it's fair of Ethan to say that, like, he had his eyes opened, like he learned about some things throughout this. Like he learned about like different historical events that inform like the situation in Israel and Palestine. He learned, you know, he learned about like the assassination of that journalist. Like he saw Hasan break down in a very genuine way, and like I think that there's a lot of like things that he got out of this conversation that like us as viewers probably aren't going to value as much because we're not like real life friends with either of these people. So, yeah.
Okay. Rape under incarceration in a carceral structure in general is very difficult to study and document. The fact that doing so inside of an apartheid structure makes it even more difficult to document. And even then, there are still obviously witness testimonies that you can rely on.
I would also say that like systematized protection or a system to, you know, conceal and protect rapists outside of prisons is a pretty good indicator, and it seems like that could be at play here. But yeah. Do you think Hasan crying was genuine? Yeah.
situations like this. I mean,
I don't think Hasan has it in him to be duplicitous. And to be clear, it would be incredibly duplicitous if he faked crying about such a horrific event. You know?
Okay. Well, I'll.
Like the care thing was the only thing I could find.
There's definitely more. Ethan, that's
then
it's an inevitability that it happens. Basically, it's not like
I'm not
you're
saying it doesn't
not
happen,
correct,
bro. I'm just saying, like, I just want to know more. I just want a reliable source, and I just don't know what this is.
It's almost all on testimonials from Palestinian women, and that's, you know, it's not exactly considered to be.
I'm not even finding the accusations though.
Okay.
Like I'm not even calling women liars or something. I want to make that clear. Like I'm not saying like they're lying. I can't even find the accusations to read. I mean, this is the only one, and it doesn't even say who's talking or who they're quoting or anything. I mean,
Okay.
It's just nothing. But like I'm open to the conversation, of course, and if that's what's happening, I think it does need to be talked about. That's all.
You like men as well, not just
Yeah.
women.
No,
Okay.
I understand that men can also be raped and sexually assaulted. You know, of course. I mean, that's something that I did read, which I consider just kind of sporadic and nebulous because it was just not hard to pin down a systemic thing that I could point to. Was just like, yeah, dudes were being like, you know, penetrated with foreign objects. I mean, obviously that is also rape.
Yes.
Horrible.
Okay, good.
Sure.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, in short,
Again, I don't think it's unreasonable when Hasan makes a claim for Ethan to be like, where could I learn more about this?
in closing, this dude, Mohammed, I mean, again.
And Hasan just
I
seems kind
apologize
of
too.
frustrated with that.
And
just baffling.
Frogan, I apologize too. Is that how you say it?
Frogan is a foot soldier and
Yeah,
has been
I hate that,
has
you
been
know?
a longtime fan of yours. You know, there are going to be other foot soldiers who are also of a Muslim background that may have said things that would upset you.
Right.
And that's something to consider when, you know, reacting to them.
You're right. I think the takeaway.
That's what I was trying to say when on the phone.
Less reactive, more charitable, and understanding. You know, they're.
What I don't understand the use of the term foot soldier here. I guess that I find that very confusing.
Reasonable and warranted anger at Israel.
Oh my God.
That's it. That's everything.
All right, perfect. We did it. We solved the conflict.
I thought, like, first of all, I mean, we talked about a lot of shit, and I do feel like I was genuinely influenced by some stuff that you had shared.
Are you moving towards wrapping up the show?
Yeah, I mean, you want to talk about the Swifties?
It feels like it's maybe too late now.
Dan wants to talk about the Swiftie movie.
Well, I promise it's not about me. It's about our audience. They were promised an Era's movie review.
Go ahead.
It sucked. It sucked fucking dick. Fuck Taylor Swift.
Button.
Careful, Dan. You can get.
Yeah, watch out, bro.
By the way,
what a twist.
I apologize if it felt like I was.
Why is this? I don't understand. I don't understand their emotional dynamic at all. It's driving me fucking. It's driving me fucking nuts. It's driving me nuts, dog. I don't understand the emotional dynamic at play between them. And this is probably like an autism thing, but like from my perspective, suddenly Hasan is sad after having been asked just where Ethan can get more reading material on a claim that Hasan made, and I'm just like, dog. I don't get this. I don't get it. It's frustrating as hell.
Was like forcing you to comment on these terrible whatever takes. That wasn't my intention. It was just to show stuff that upset me. You know what I mean?
No, I understand.
But I agree. Everything you said, I agree with. I mean, ultimately, we're in agreement. Ultimately. And in fact, I think you moved me even more towards your side. Or whatever side. I don't think there's sides. It's not the best way to put it. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Cool.
All right, everybody.
Zach's not here to play the music. Would you like me to just kind of
Just
sing
like
it?
crickets. Longest episode of Leftovers ever.
We did it.
This is actually pretty cute. Okay. Well, I hated that. That was so long. After watching this, I feel it's genuinely anti-Semitic to call Ethan a Zionist. Like, genuinely. Like, if you're calling Ethan Klein a Zionist after watching that, like, did you even listen to what came out of his mouth? You know what Zionists don't do? They don't talk about the validity of, like, targeting settlers for political violence. They don't do that. Just, man, dude. That was a frustrating watch.